Hello everyone, we are back for another session of Lost City of Mezro. Last week, you went to the Temple of the Rising Sun, the place where the Heart of the Wild, the Daijobi Senga, was said to rest dormant. You were told to expect the mage hunters of the Obanashi clan to challenge you upon arriving at this sacred location, but when you arrived, you found them absent. Rather, other intruders had already arrived at the temple ahead of you, the Order of the Sabaton. And so, you entered the temple unchallenged, solved a series of elemental puzzles within, and encountered the Order of the Sabaton within the ruined Great Hall of the temple, where they were locked in combat with a brown-skinned, blue-robe-wearing Cholton warrior. You launched into battle, helped this mysterious woman defeat her assailants, and after they were dead, she introduced herself to you as Mesika, a knight protector of the lost city of Mezro, and specifically an attendant and protector to Lady Alessander. And so, here we are in this week's session. You currently stand in the ruined main hall of the Temple of the Rising Sun. This large room may have once been a beautifully crafted hall of worship to Ubtao. Now, most of the walls are marred or scorched. Large chunks of rocky debris from the walls and ceilings are scattered about the chamber, along with piles of broken furniture. The remains of an old dais lies near the western wall. A set of wide stone steps leads a broken path up to an archway that had collapsed long ago. Mesika stands leaning against the dais. She holds her Kopesh swords in front of her, appears to be examining them to determine if there is any damage after the latest conflict, and then, satisfied, sheaths both of them, brushes a lock of black hair out of her face, and sighs, catching her breath after the fight with the Sabatons. I take it you all have questions, she says, looking up, glancing at Alessander and Zinhorn. She says, after all, I'm not sure you were expecting to find me when you came into this temple, nor was I expecting to find Lady Alessander or Zinhorn here.
Where to start? Who wants to start? I have lots of questions, but who wants to start here?
Well, you say that my parents stayed with you, but this is not the first person who has mentioned this to me in recent times.
She raises her eyebrows and you see her green-tinged eyes widen. She purses her lips and she says, "Is this so? That is interesting. Tell me, who has said this to you before?"
In fact, it was the person who sent us into this dungeon.
Actually, he didn't actually send us here. He has no idea we came to this place. He sent us to the village.
Yeah, to Tamolka village. But his quest did bring you to this temple.
Yeah.
So do you name Artist Climber?
I just look over at Alessander and...
She just shrugs.
Yes.
Mesika's eyebrows raise more and she says, Artist Climber? You mean he is alive?
Oh, so you do know him. Well, that makes this either more or less interesting.
She says, yes, according to your father, Lady Alessandra, and indeed the other Barret of Ubtao, Artus Climber was chosen to remain outside of Mezro, to watch over Cholt, and, when the time was right, to lay the foundation for restoring Mezro. Of course, this time doesn't appear to have come. You see, your father and the other Barret were concerned that something must have happened to Artus. After all, for us, on the other side of the veil that separated Mezro from the material plane, only 2 years had passed. But, according to the calculations of Master Ray Burton and the other Barret, this would have been more than enough time on Cholt for the reign of Ras Nasi to have ended, for the after effects of the spell plague to have begun to fade away. And so, it was thought that as Artus had not begun to restore Mezro, something must have happened. Of course, she looks around and sighs and says, your father and the other Barret, disconnected from Ubtao, who turned his back on Cholt, were unaware of the corruption that has swept through the jungle as a result of the spell plague. As such, when they thought that the time was ripe to return, perhaps they were wrong. Perhaps more must be done than simply restoring Mezro to the material plane. She trails off.
So why then would he say that my parents stayed with him?
She just shrugs and she says, that I do not know. I can assure you your parents stayed in my suite. Artus did not even live within the Temple of Mezro. He took residence at the Mages College in the northern sector of the city. I'm not sure why he would tell you that, unless there's something that he wishes to keep hidden from you. Her mouth twists as she ponders the implications of this. She says, still, I have not known Artus to be a man of ill intent.
At this point, Zinhorn's going to do an insight check.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
While doing that, Sanders basically was looking going, well, I have several questions to get started, but we'll try and work in with Zinhorn's story. Was he the one who was teaching me magic to begin with?
She nods and she says, yes, indeed, Artus was instructing you on the ways of magic. You were too young to enter the College of Mages. However, Artus weaved a little loophole that, although you were ineligible to receive instruction from the faculty of the college, if he tutored you himself, this would not violate the terms of his employment at the college. And so he and your father entered an arrangement that he would teach you magic at the Temple of Mezro thrice per week, until you were old enough to be admitted in the college at the age of 16.
Wait, so how old am I now?
While they're talking, could I do a history check to see if I would know if the spell plague would have corrupted mages?
Yes, you can. Or an Arcana check will suffice as well. And Zinhorn, how did you do on your insight check?
19.
19. She appears to be truthful. There doesn't appear to be anything she's holding back. She just seems confused.
I got a 16 on my history.
So, Bulb, you are aware that Thinking back on it, the spell plague was perhaps an even more destructive event than the rise of Rust-Nasi, where the rise of Rust-Nasi did indirectly wipe out all civilization on Chult. The spell plague affected magic throughout the entire planet, and there was a short period, depending on the source you consult, it lasted anywhere between a decade and a century, where magic was simply unreliable. Casting spells would cause unpredictable effects to happen, or in the most common case, anyone who wielded arcane magic would simply be unable to cast magic at all. Those who wielded divine magic, rangers, druids, paladins, clerics, however, remained unaffected during the spell plague. And this is because divine magic does not rely on the weave that courses through the atmosphere of the material plane, and which practitioners of arcane magic tap into to cause the effects of their spells.
I may have an explanation as to why what was his name?
Artis, yeah.
Artis may be a bit deceptive. If he was alive and out here during the spell plague, he may have been affected somehow.
Mesika just frowns and she says, "That is a possibility. I confess I'm not an arcanist. I know little about magic, but in the time I've been wandering Chult, I have learned that the spell plague's effects were incredibly destructive, perhaps even more than the rise of Rust-Nasi. And perhaps Artis may simply be embarrassed to have lost a portion of his once considerable power."
So, on that note, you say you've been wondering, were we sent, the two of us, I know, well, I have to confess, most of my memories were lost in recent years. It's hard to tell. But you say that the council, or the chosen of Mezro, were concerned that Artis had failed. Is that why he sent us back to here?
She nods and she says, "Originally, 'twas I who was to be sent alone, though you begged, convinced your father to allow you to accompany me. After all, Artis was your teacher, and you too worried for him. And furthermore, I think you could not face any more time cooped up in Mezro, particularly without me there to rein you in." She smiled. Yeah.
Just feel like a more lighter voice come from Alessander going, "Yeah, that sounds like Ali, all right." You get bored really easily.
Mesika raises her right eyebrow and then she shrugs and smiles and says, "Well, in either case, your father agreed to it, though I was tasked with ensuring that you remained safe and that no harm would befall you. Of course, we had barely been out on the material plane for less than 4 or 5 days when we must have stumbled upon one of the old outposts of Rust-Nasi. I wished to explore it on my own as I sensed the danger, but you insisted on accompanying me. When we entered the tower, we found it abandoned, though the air was filled with latent energy, remnants of Rust-Nasi's dark magic that still permeated throughout the ruin. And both of us became drawn to items left over in the tower that must have belonged to Rust-Nasi, in particular a staff and a hat. I managed to break through whatever magic was compelling us to be drawn to these items. Just as I was about to wrap my hands around the staff, I pulled myself away and did my best to try to pull you as far as I could from these objects, but something overcame you. You fought back at me with a strength I had never seen you possess, grabbed hold of the hat, placed it over your head, and then gripped the staff. The next thing I remember is awakening in the jungle alone. I did not know where you were. All I knew is that somehow, deep down within me, I knew that you were still alive. And so I've searched for you ever since. I've been experiencing visions, she says. Premonitions, I think. Guidance from Ubtao. They have guided me these past 2 years, and it was one of my visions that brought me here to this temple. I did not know what I would find here. I suspected the vision would simply lead me to a place where I could perhaps learn how to restore Mezro, but here we are. I have found you, and it is said the heart of the wild rests here.
Yes. Well, that definitely closes the gap on certain memories, although there is still a gap between me leaving here, now Mezro, and winding up where I did. But that also explains why you're here in the first place. I was worried for a moment before we found you fighting with the Sabatons that you might have actually been with them. How did the Sabatons even get here to begin with?
She smiles, and I'd like you to make a persuade check, please.
Oh, yay, fun. And there's my net 20 for the session. Crap, this could be downhill from here.
You see Mesika's teeth bite her bottom lip, and she says, well, I must confess I was with them. She says, I had heard that this temple had been abandoned for a long time. I suspected that I would not be able to simply walk in and find what I was looking for on my own. And the only other people who were searching for it, indeed, were the Sabatons. So I gave them the location of the temple and joined them on their expedition. Of course, as you can see, we didn't get far in until they discovered that I was not who I said I was and turned against me.
Anyone want to roll insight on that? I'm not going to, because insight is terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can.
No way. Let's go ahead and go. No,
That's a 21.
Yeah.
21
for me.
Okay, so Zinhorn, you see as she talks, she looks at the bodies of the Sabaton soldiers with clear contempt on her face. It's clear that she does despise them, and so she appears to be telling the truth.
Alexander sort of shrugs and just goes, I understand using whatever resources you could to achieve your goals. It's not unheard of.
She says, I was hoping, in all honesty, that whatever awaits at the end of this temple, for there must be a reason that the mage hunters of the Obanashi have abandoned it, would take care of them for me so that I would not have to share what is left of the heart of the wild with them.
Okay, yeah, no, Alessandra definitely likes this lady.
She says, however, we got as far as this main hall before one of them noticed that I seemed to know more than I was letting on. And when I refused to elaborate further, well, they drew their weapons and, well, you know what happened next.
Yes, we've had a few run-ins with this lot. Honestly, you got lucky. This group is probably the closest thing they've had to competence since we've met them.
She nods and she says, indeed, they have been a scourge on Tolt for nearly all of the last 2 years I've spent wandering it.
Yeah, we probably upset them when we killed their leader and decapitated her and scattered them from Mezro. It was a good day.
She frowns and she says, "Would you forgive me, but I now have a question. I've been wandering Chult for all this time, and yet I only heard rumours that Lady Alessander and her entourage were alive within the last few months. Maybe a few whispers before that you were all on a journey to stop the death curse. Prior to this, I heard not even a single whisper of your name. It's as if you were not in Chult at all."
Well, perceptive. No, before we came here to stop the death plague, we were actually over in Waterdeep. That's where I ended up. Well, we ended up.
Waterdeep, she says. Most interesting. I have heard of it, a great city across the ocean. I have never been there. Most interesting that whatever piece of Rasnasi lurked within that staff would direct you there, of all places.
Yes, the staff, yes. Sweats nervously. Does anyone else have any questions? I mean, I could sit here and discuss things from years gone by for hours, but I'm guessing we still have more work to do. Does anyone else have anything they wish to ask?
Not really, other than were we going to continue?
That is a good question.
Mesika.
What?
Yep, go ahead.
Do you know anything about what might be lying at the end of this temple?
Mesika frowns and she says, "I know that there is a hall somewhere in this temple where the priests of the Obannashi would conduct rituals to Ubtao. They would conduct these rituals to refresh the heart of the wild with Ubtao's blessing. It is said that the heart of the wild is not physically present within this hall, but rather the hall contains a portal that connects to the place where the heart of the wild rests." She says, "I was hoping to locate it and use the Sabatons to, well, enter this portal for me and face any dangers that lurked within."
Neat.
She looks around and says, "Where it is from here, though, I do not know. Though it appears we only have two options." She gestures. "We can head through that door." She points to a set of double doors on the eastern end of the hall. "Or that one." She gestures to another set behind her.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, that would be the west wall, and there was a cavern of water over that way, so that would be the shorter route. Might as well get that out of the way before we head on to the larger route.
All right, what does everyone think of this?
Zinhorn wants to go over and just sort of listen out to see if there's any noises coming from the western doors.
Yep, I'd like you to please make a perception check.
Zinhorn's so taken back by everything he rolled on that one, but that takes him to a 10.
10. Would you like to use your passive instead?
Yeah, so like...
So, Zinhorn, you press against the doors and try to detect anything on the other side. There is silence at first, but then you hear a sound of many legs scuttling over debris and stone.
Well,
Okay.
there's either a lot of things out there, or one thing with a lot of legs. So when we go through here, if we go through here, just be prepared you might have either a lot of things or a lot of legs to cut down.
Yay.
Also, by us doing this whole talking, is that a short rest?
If you wish to spend hit dice, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just realised that glaives... I can't use glaives.
Ah,
I mean, I will take them off your hands if you don't need them.
So where would you like to go?
Yes, 2 hit dice and 2 8s. That's 12.
Oh, good. 2 hit dice and got 2
I give my
sevens.
glaive to Bobbit.
Cool, I will add that to the list. Boba will explain why eventually.
I wanted to use one because it gave me reach, but unfortunately, I thought it was they counted as quarterstaffs. They do not.
No, they do not.
As a
They count as a polar. Yeah.
So was it
That'll
the
do.
west that the scuttling
I'm
was?
almost at that.
Yes, the west.
I'm 6 off full health. And I have my wild shape.
Odd question. While I'm looking over at the keeper, how's he looking?
Keeper is looking, well, he still appears to be fully healed. The Sabatons didn't actually lay a scratch on him during the fight, so...
Hey, Bobby doesn't have to try and fix that.
Is this something, or is that just my map?
Yeah, that's a staircase that leads up to a collapsed archway. As you look at it, Mesika gestures over to it and she says, "That, I believe, was once the front entrance of the temple. It leads out into the mountains, though it appears to have collapsed long ago. Any parts of the temple beyond that door are sadly inaccessible to us."
Okay, I would like to look at the altar thing that's in this room.
Yep, go ahead. Please make an investigate check.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a 9.
So, you head over and look at the dais. It appears to be some sort of shrine. Most of the carvings and decorations are either faded or broken, but a few of them can be seen upon the surface, depicting 8 figures standing in a circle. There are 4 such carvings. Make a religion check, please.
Okay. Yeah, that's a 24.
These carvings appear to be depictions of certain rituals, each one with a different priest leading the ritual, marked with a sun symbol beneath them. Now, these appear to be guides of how to perform the rituals that Mesika spoke of to purify the heart of the wild.
Yeah, could it probably take a minute? Oh, I'll say to take a minute to try and memorize that and point to the rest of the group that this is very important. We should probably...
Bulb will also try to study it.
Yep. Yes, so Bulb, please make a religion check.
$16.
So, Bulb, you successfully memorize them, as does Bobbit. Mesika just nods and says, indeed, those will probably be useful.
Yeah.
These do seem like something that an archdruid should
No,
know.
yes.
Bobbit just likes learning things.
So,
It reminds us... also, a quick looks over at Mesika and goes, I'm guessing, gesturing down to her, snake form, robot arm, various other things going, I'm guessing you probably have some other questions you'd want to ask at some point.
she just shrugs and says, well, you grabbed hold of Rasnasi's staff. Any disfigurements that are upon you now, I simply take as an indirect result of that. She smiles and says, but I'm sure there will be time to hear the full story once we're done here.
Yes, let's go with that. Well, that sorts things out for now. Shall we go and check the next room, I guess?
Which way would you like to go? The west?
Yeah, I still vote west.
Alright, you still
I'll
vote.
check to see what auras
Despite hearing the scuttling, I still vote west.
Still vote west, okay. Alright.
Hey, West.
Alright, just moving all your tokens in there. And his keeper's one.
Yeah.
Okay, West. You press against the doors and they open with little resistance, creaking as they do. You step through and find yourselves in a debris-choked hallway. Look around, dimly lit. Down the hallway, you see alcoves embedded into the walls, and from what you can see, they appear to be stuffed with old crates and barrels, perhaps some sort of old supply nook. Zinhorn, with your passive perception, you notice large spider webs strung across the walls and floors at various intervals down the hallway.
Oh, good.
What is the walls? Are they like solid? Are they rock? Are they?
They appear to be solid rock. Indeed, they appear to be carved out of the mountain itself.
Alright, so Zinhorn is going to. These days. Zinhorn is going to summon a. Let's go with an Earth Elemental.
Earth Elemental. You raise your hand. Suddenly the stone around you begins to shake and rumble. And standing before you, taking up most of the hallway with its girth, is an Earth Elemental. And
I want it to sort of like go straight into the wall.
yep,
Like disappear into the wall.
as you summon it, it looks over at you, nods, and then presses its hand out, touching the wall, and merges with the stone.
Hey, Zinhorn, do you name your elementals?
Oh yeah, that one's Rocky.
Ah, Bobbit likes that one.
Oh my god.
I don't mind, yeah. But seriously, us and whole Bobbit sort of just look back in the hallway going, I wonder if we'll need more help for this. Yeah, we can wait, they're not going anywhere.
Now what would you like to do?
Is there anything in the first alcove?
So the Earth, would you want the Earth Elemental to check, or do you want to check?
No, I'll
Yep.
check.
You step forwards just in front of the huge webbing and peer into the alcove. It appears to contain nothing but old planks of wood, a couple empty glass bottles, and dirt and debris.
Is what's on the? It's just like rubble on the ground in the middle of the.
Yeah, just rubble.
Is it like? Can you get past these spider webs so Zinhorn can look in the second alcove?
Yep, so Zinhorn would like you to make a dex check to squeeze past the first web.
That is a 17 plus 3, a dirty 20.
You duck under the web in front of you, step out onto a pile of debris and peer into the second alcove. And here you see several old crates and barrels. They would be falling apart but are held together with thick webbing, and there, hanging upside down from the ceiling, unaware of your presence, you see a single monstrously sized spider, its exoskeleton, its carapace seemingly made of sharp metal, its legs each ending in blades. It is a sword spider, and you have encountered them before.
Zinhorn looks back at the others and then does like a sword motion and then does like 8 legs with his hands to signal. And then just holds up, because it only sees the one, so just holds up one finger.
Make it alive. Make it alive. Make it alive. I mean, that's really cool, but I know we haven't encountered one in this game, that's why I'm freaking out outside of
Yeah.
Well, no, you encountered them in the tomb. There was 2 of them in the tomb. in one of the floors. Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
Okay, cool.
I think you took him out. I think that was the episode that I wasn't here, and you took him out really easily.
Yeah, it was.
Because it was the episode where Zinhorn turned into a spider and walked all the way through the webbings.
Yes.
That's right. Sorry, I was thinking of the other campaign where beating giant spiders got everyone fucking destroyed. But sorry, apologies.
That's true. That was a fun fight.
Flashbacks of a different.
Also, they weren't sword spiders, were they? They were.
No, they were phase spiders.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So
That's right, because they kept fucking appearing and disappearing.
So Zinhor, knowing that worked last time, would you like to do it again?
Zinhorn did have other ideas.
Well, if you have other ideas, go ahead.
Zinhorn is going to wild shape himself into an earth elemental,
Yep.
Oh,
and he's also going to
Merge into the wall.
merge into the wall, and then he wants to go up to the roof.
Yep. You merge into the wall, move up onto the roof.
And then sort of just have it just so his head, his face is just looking down out, so he can keep his eye on
Yep.
the rest of the party, what the rest of the party is doing.
And then do you want to make your way down the hallway?
Yeah.
So you make your way further down the hallway with your earth elemental following along behind you. You reach the third alcove and are just in time to see two swarms of baby spiders scatter under a pile of debris. You continue onwards even more, rounding a corner, and eventually you pass all of the webbing. The webbed part of the corridor seems to come to an end, and around the corner you see an archway leading into an open room. However, right in front of it, you see a second sword spider hanging upside down from the roof, waiting for its prey to trigger the webs as they move through the corridor.
Alright, what's the rest of the group doing?
Alright, yeah, what is the rest of the group doing? Do you want to try to sneak through the webbing?
Bulb is hurriedly and in a whisper explaining the advantages of awakening a sword spider.
there's a good reason for Bob to just stand still and not try to walk past any of these things. So he's just going to be listening, captivated by that, because having giant sword spiders sounds really cool. Also, don't really want Keeper to try and walk through any of these, because let's be realistic. If he tries to walk down this hallway, his dex is something between sweet none and just non-existent.
So Lucian just pats Keeper on the shoulder and says, "How about they go ahead and we shall remain here, Keeper, my boy?" Keeper just looks at him and goes, "Oh?"
Bob just sort of looks and goes, "Shouldn't touch him."
So I should probably explain why I'm now obsessed with wanting to awaken
please.
things.
Oh, please do.
Bulb had the idea that now that there is a Druid Grove, if he had awakened animals and plants in the Druid Grove, he could educate the people of Chult.
He could.
To not ruin environments.
Ooh.
You would.
And now that he has the staff, awakening has become a much more viable.
Yeah.
Well, if you're aiming to teach people, it probably would be a good idea to not pick a huge, scary spider.
They're the best ones.
No.
Also, you got to defend the grove somehow.
Yeah.
Hence the assistant vine being the first candidate.
You're just going to be like the friggin' Schultzian version of friggin' Hagrid, where it just keeps going with, these are animals that we probably shouldn't be teaching children about, but hey, here they are. Let's have a look.
Yeah, that's
Wisdom
Zinhorn.
about animals
Definitely
and plants.
Zinhorn.
Well,
Wisdom about animal plants and low charisma. Yeah.
Bulb, if you want to sneak past the first set of webs and try to awaken the sword spider that's just in front of you, go ahead.
That's a question I'll need to ask, though. If I cast it using the staff, does it still require the 8-hour casting time?
Unfortunately, yes, it does.
Yeah,
Okay.
can't get around that one.
So you
Yep, that's fine.
have to capture it alive.
Yes, that is the downside to this. I moved the web by accident.
That's all right, I'll put it back.
Yeah. Boring webs.
Yo!
I just found an easy way for us to get through. There's one web mod.
Hey,
There you go. It's back. I look. Bold just goes. If we fight and if we can take one alive, I would be very appreciative. Otherwise, we're not going to get ourselves killed or a spider.
At least we come back.
So Lucian holds out his hand and says, "Lady Mesika, join me." She looks at his hand and she says, "What exactly are you?" So Lucian steps forwards and uses merge with stone, stepping into the wall. She grabs his hand and follows him.
It's just an odd conversation with Bobbit just sort of looks at herself and goes, "Hey, isn't that something like one of those books that you've been reading? Shut up."
So Bobbit, what would you like to do?
Oh yeah, I got all my spells back here. Bob just sort of looks at Bulb and just sort of shrugs and casts Spider Climb on herself.
Yep.
And just sort of starts walking up around the wall. Actually, can I cast that on more than one person? Let me have a look.
You might be able to.
Dum, 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 dum.
I was going to say I was going to cast speak. Oh wait, I have a really low charisma. Don't worry about it.
It's just me. So
Yeah.
So it just shrugs and goes, "Good luck, Bulb," and just sort of starts walking up the walls around the webbing.
You place your palms on the walls, start climbing along the stone face, avoiding all of the webbing and coming to the very end of the corridor.
And just before she leaves, just sort of quietly looks at Keeper and just goes, "Yay."
He just nods and goes, "Ooh," and then mimes with his left hand a spider running along the wall, and then with his right hand smashing it with his fist.
Just thumbs up as if to signal if anything goes wrong. Yeah, feel free to start crushing some.
I am very quickly learning why charisma should not be my lowest skill.
I mean, you can still try to talk to the spider if you want.
Yeah, because I have speak with animals and I want to offer it a deal.
Yep.
I feel like the speak of animals would only be on me.
If it means anything, sword spiders have terrible charisma too.
Oh, well now, sir. I was interested. Now you have my attention.
Yeah, it's good.
No, do not. I nearly instinctually clicked on sword spider to fucking look at something, but then I realized no. Don't do that. What kind of spider did Zinhorn turn into?
I think he's just...
An elemental.
Elemental, sorry.
Yeah.
That's what you went through the wall.
Yeah, he did.
I'm Rookie 2.0.
And last time we encountered sword spiders, Zinhorn just turned into a normal sized spider.
Like an ice spider or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, an ice spider, yeah.
Oh, that's right, because any type of spider can walk silently along.
On webs, yes, yeah, any spider can. So you could just turn into a spider if you want. You are a druid.
Yeah, I feel I'm going to transform into a giant wolf
Spider,
Is that
yes.
the one?
Yep, you can turn into that.
Yeah, I'm going to wild shape into that, make my way silently over to the others.
Yep.
And I might try my convincing spiel on the way out when I'm with the party.
That's a good idea. So you transform into a giant wolf spider and just run gleefully across the webs. The swarms of spiders and the sword spiders are unaware of you as you join the others, and the rest of the party sees a huge giant wolf spider rounds the corner and looks at you, waves with one of its front legs, indicating that it is Bulb. And so...
I feel like I probably should wave so that I don't get immediately killed.
Just see Bobbitt's hands just randomly stop being on fire. It's like, okay. Hey.
You step, breathing a sigh of relief that you have managed to bypass all the spiders. You step through the archway into the room beyond.
Oh, fucking ghost!
Oh, no. I want this.
You enter a...
Scare me, you stick.
You step into a large open room that appears to have been primarily used for resting and holding meetings amongst the priests of the temple. The east side of the room is full of crates containing old clothes, spoiled food, and rusty trinkets. The remainder of the room is taken up by a large dining table. In the midst of the room, you see a transparent figure wearing robes that mark them as a member of the priesthood, just floating in the air. As you enter the room, they turn and look at you and then look mournfully away.
Oh? This one's friendly?
Perhaps you can attack it if you like.
So you said they looked like did any of the clothes match what the rituals priests were wearing?
Well, you'd have to go up and check.
You know what? Considering it didn't immediately try to attack us like every other ghost, Bobbit is going to steal nerves and go, we can do this time. Things are different now, and try and go up to talk to it.
You cautiously step into the room, approaching the transparent figure. As you step towards it, it turns, reaches up with its hands and lowers the priestly hood, revealing the face of a young, beautiful woman beneath. Her hair immediately billows down to her shoulders, and as you approach, she looks at you mournfully, but says nothing.
Hello there. My name is Alessander Rayburton. What is your name?
The ghost hovers in place. It looks at you, and then it opens its mouth and says, Roga of the Obanashi clan. Gaze upon what was once mine, now lost. She gestures around at the ruinous room, but you get the feeling she's referring to the temple in general.
Yes. So you used to live here?
The ghost nods. I did. Still do. I do not wish to talk. I do not wish to talk about it. It is my torment and mine alone. The ghost looks away.
Would you like us to help ease your torment? If you'd like?
Please make a persuasion check.
Well, all the times this to not go to crap. That is a 26.
26. You see the ghost fade. You see the ghost begin to grow lighter and lighter as if it's fading away, but then suddenly the color washes back into it. It hovers in place and says, if you would help put Roga to rest, you must discover what has become of the Daijobi Senga and avenge me against Kolati.
Okay, well, we're actually here to try and fix the Heart of the Wild, but what is the Kolati?
The ghost sighs, looks around with a sad look on her face, and says, In life, I was the head of the Urbanashi clan before I was duped by Kolati. Now I simply wander this hall, unable to move on to the afterlife. Kolati was a wizard I found in the jungle after the spell plague. He was on the verge of death, so I brought him into the temple and nursed him back to health. Little did I or the other Urbanashi know that Kolati was one with an evil heart and seeked to claim the Daijobi Senga for himself. Once he had returned to full health, he led an uprising against the priests of this temple. I attempted to stop him from taking the Daijobi Senga, but was slain in my attempt. I know not what happened next, but I remain here, unable to leave, unable to rest in peace, and I know that Kolati is still alive. I could feel his presence even now. He must still be of this world. I believe the reason that Ubtar would not allow my spirit to move on to the afterlife is because Kolati remains, and the heart of the wild is in his possession.
Just all the while this conversation's going on, just inside our head, just have Alessander going, I feel like we've been here before. Have we been here before? My god, this is happening again. It's the same damn story. Fine. Rastasy 2.0. Let's figure this out and deal with it. But, well, either way, Bob looks to the rest of the group and goes, so, find the evil wizard, beat the evil wizard, restore the heart, and you're free to go.
The ghost nods. She shakes her head, and you see her hair billow around her as if in a terrible wind, although you can't feel it. She's momentarily taken by rage, and she says, "He must die! The Daijobi Senga must be restored." She sighs again. "I cannot leave this room, but I will help you as best I can." She gestures to a wooden armoire behind her, pressed against the southernmost wall, and she says, "I lost the key to this armoire centuries ago when Kolati slew me, but if you can find it, insert the key into the third lock from the left. It is the true one." With that, she gives you one last mournful look and then slowly fades away.
Don't pick the lock. Find the actual key. It's so much easier to just not pick it.
Well, you may indeed have the key.
Oh, we picked up a weird key.
Yeah, that had the word priest stamped into it.
Oh, yeah. Well, before it fades away, we'll just very quickly go, is this the key you were talking about? Please say yes, please say yes.
You get no response as you hear a wail as the ghost fades away.
Fair enough. Upset of being stuck in eternal torment. Fair. Well, this has been easily one of the top 2 ghosts we've ever talked to. All the others have tried to kill us for ages, several decades. Alrighty, key, find the armoire. Let's go. Third lock from the left, I believe.
Yep. You head over to the armoire, the rest of the party standing behind you. You see that the front of the armoire is lined with locks. There are at least 20 of them. And so you count 1, 2, 3 from the left. This lock looks identical to all the others, but it is apparently the one the ghost was referring to. Everyone fine to let Bobbin insert the key into this lock, or are you going to, or are you suspicious? Yep. All right. Bobbit, you insert the key into the lock. It fits. And then you grab the key, you grip the key, and turn it to the right. You close your eyes and brace yourself, waiting for the trap. Then you hear a click, and the armoire door slowly swings open. I'd like you to roll a d20, please.
Cool. See, Boba just says she's putting the key in going, if I were a Sabaton, I'd just take the biggest blunt object and smash it open, because that's how smart people handle these things. 7.
7. Inside the armoire is a single rolled up tattered piece of paper. You grab it and unroll it and learn that it is a scroll of protection.
Oh? What do?
This is a rare scroll. It is not of a spell. Rather, what it does is if you use an action to read the scroll, you are enclosed in an invisible barrier that extends from you to form a 5-foot radius, 10-foot high cylinder. For 5 minutes, this barrier prevents a creature type of your choice from entering or affecting anything within the cylinder. The cylinder moves with you and remains centered on you.
Oh,
Interesting.
I like that. Interesting. We'll take it back and show the rest of the group going. So, who wants free protection?
I feel like you probably need it.
Alrighty then, as long as everyone's in agreement.
Well, the thing is that if you're all packed in together, you could all be protected.
I mean, it's a 5-foot radius, so that would be
10 feet diameter.
Yeah. So it'd be you and 5 feet around you. Yeah, 2 by 2.
Yeah. So as long as no one's like an earth elemental or anything like that at the time, then yeah, no, entirely possible.
I don't dig it, Rocky.
No, I'm just saying everyone seems to like transforming themselves into really big things. I'm just saying.
Is there anything else you'd like to do here?
Technically, I'm smaller than my actual normal size.
You are, yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll look back in the room and just very quietly, because she knows there's still spiders nearby, just sort of bow and go, you just sit quietly. We're going to go take care of the evil wizard who tricked you and took over the temple. Well, seriously, we've done this before, haven't we, Ellie? Yes, we've done this before. It's the same thing all over again. Hopefully this time we won't have to lose a limb or turn to a snake.
You can easily head back the way you came the same way if you like.
Yeah, I mean, spider climb for me works.
And a giant wolf spider talk to a sword spider?
Indeed it can.
I'm trying to figure out how I can let the party know what I want to do without changing my wild shape.
You could just let them go back out of the room and just stay behind if you want. Don't necessarily tell them.
I'm technically stuck with a spider if it doesn't go well.
Oh, I'm sure they'll hear the sounds of all the spiders coming running down.
True, that's true. That's definitely true. I'm gonna see if I have. I'm just gonna look up a spell because it might be my getaway spell.
Yep.
Let's see here. Can I do a nature check to see if a sword spider's attack counts as magical?
Yes, you can.
Let me scroll back up to nature. +6, that's a 15.
Sword spiders are all natural animals and such. It would be very unlikely and unusual that their attacks would count as magical.
Okay, cool. I am going to talk to Sword Spider 1.
1. So so the rest of the party, do you want to just head back the way you came using the same method?
Linon's going to stay in the roof above the sword spider.
Just to back up Bulb in case. Because you see that Bulb is lurking behind while Alessander and Lucian head back the way they came. And so you choose to remain on the roof. Bulb steps out onto one of the webs, approaches the sword spider, and as he gets closer to it, the sword spider begins to notice that something is there. Where it was deathly still, suddenly it begins to unfurl its legs and stretches them out to their full width, their full span, as it crawls across the roof. Its red eyes glimmer in the dim light, and it sees Bulb, the giant wolf spider, before it. And Bulb, it sees you, it approaches, and says, look at this! Very tiny spider, come to see me, not like any other friends here. Clearly not one of my brood, so tell me, comrade, why you step on my web, and why I should not eat you.
I need this to work.
This is the best spider ever.
Russian spider in my crew.
Spider Konslov must be ours.
I say to him, I am if I say man, do they understand that I mean humanoid?
Yeah, they would probably understand.
Okay. I am a magic man of the city far towards the coast. I specialize in beasts of all sorts and plants. I come to you looking to propose a partnership or deal of sorts.
I do not know of cities, says the spider, brushing some web aside with one of its legs. And all I know of man is for food. Please make a persuade check.
Okay, this is where it goes bad. 9.
Tell me, says the sword spider, and as he moves towards you, you see the other sword spider come scuttling around the corner, obviously alerted by the clicking and clacking, the sounds of the conversation.
Just figured out the wording that could get him on his side. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Prey, says the second sword spider. Grigori, there is prey! The first sword spider says, quiet, Igor, quiet. The man is trying to talk to us. He is promising if we do not eat him right here and now, he may take us to a nest where there is many more men to prey upon. Is this not right? Is this not right, comrade? Says the sword spider.
Not necessarily to prey on, but I can offer a lot of companionship. A lot of visitors.
Food. Wait, I'm not
Well,
what am I saying?
he started talking. He said that I was a visitor and he didn't get many of those. So now I'm trying to work on... I can offer him people who will come and keep him companionship quite often.
Clever.
Indeed. Visitors I like. Visitors are good. Brighten up dreary day. But I thought visitor was spider, not man. Man is only food. So speak, tell me of this companionship you can offer. Tell us how we can spend the days in happy talks with companions who are men.
I don't know how to say this in character, so I'm just going to explain what I'm trying to explain.
Yep.
I explained to him how I can do what is called awakening on him, which will give him the ability to speak. I've explained that I'm going to, if he agrees, I will take them to the Druid Grove in the city, which is close by to the forest, which would provide plenty of hunting. But at the Druid Grove, they would have plenty of visitors. And if my plan succeeds, I'm going to have many other awakened creatures and plants living in this grove. And this grove will need protectors of sorts.
The second sword spider raises a leg, cutting you off, and says, "Friends, companions, comrades is good, but what of food? Man cannot simply live on bread alone."
Sorry.
I'm guessing that's a reference to something. I explain that my position is, in the terms of man, high enough that I would potentially be able to organize fresh livestock, not man, but a variety of different animals. Or if they wish, they would have plentiful hunting grounds that are not trapped inside a enclosure underground.
Please make a persuade check.
Come on, Dice, you gotta roll good at least. Fuck. Oh, I'm gonna use an inspiration because I don't think a 4 is gonna work.
No, most certainly not.
Come on.
16.
16, lovely.
He deserves a win.
The second sword spider simply says, "It sounds like a good deal to me. What do you think, Grigori?" The first sword spider raises one of its front legs as if in agreement, and then shouts, "Praise capitalism!" And then...
Oh my god.
And
This is amazing. I love all of this.
then it nods. It nods its head, its 8 eyes burning bright, its face quivering, and it says, "You have a deal, comrade. We shall defect to the capitalists. You need only tell us where to go."
Well, you could either make your own way to,
Actually,
was it
probably
east? I think it was E? I can't remember from the overworld map.
Yeah, east. It was east.
East to the city, or they can wait for us to finish our business here.
If I could interject, I don't think sending giant spiders to the city without any prior warning is going to be a great idea for them.
Yeah, I say they can either make their way east, although that will most likely result in people not knowing what I'm planning,
Well, you could
trying to kill them.
You
or
could
wait at the entrance to the cave and join us on the airship on the way back.
and then you could awaken them in that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that plan.
Very well, says Igor the spider. He says, "Grigori and I will wait outside. We shall take all of our children, and we shall await for you to tell us which factory we work in next. Huzzah to capitalism!" And with this, all of the spiders scurry down the hallway and past the rest of the party, paying them no attention as they scuttle through the main hall and back up towards the elemental trials.
This is amazing. I love this so much.
Back to the party, and as I'm walking towards them, unwild shape without breaking my stride, and go, "Oh, I hope this idea works out for the better, because this is going to be very interesting."
Just everyone else looking around going, where's that weird music playing? It's just the Russian national anthem just continuously plays every time they move.
Moscow, Moscow, da ba da 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 do.
Close enough.
I'm so glad I got that 17, which went down to a 16. Fucking -1 to charisma. What the fuck was I thinking?
So you reconvene in the main hall, and you all breathe a sigh of relief as Bulb explains exactly what just happened, and that he somehow managed to come through it unharmed. Mesika just nods and says, "Well, I wouldn't have picked spiders, but it's an admirable plan. Educate the people of Cholt on how nature will only wish to coexist with them. And what better way to do that than by having nature itself to educate them?"
Exactly. That is exactly what I was thinking. And also, in our travels, we have learnt that some people do not have a respect for nature and would gladly harm it. And what better to defend than extremely offensive spiders that can have web tripwires everywhere?
She nods and then silently walks towards the set of doors on the east, and she says, "Good thinking. Well, I believe, since we found no Heart of the Wild that way, it must be this way."
Sounds good.
Okay, so you follow her and push open the next set of doors. And
Sinhorn and the elemental are just going to stay within the walls.
Yep. Zin...
Okay, so as we're going back through the main sort of hallway thing, I was just going to stop him and going, well, I got one of these a day. Might as well put to good use against the... there were 5 Sabatons, weren't there? The 2 blackguards and
Yep,
3 knights.
there were 5 of them. Yep.
And just goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, goody. Okay, everyone avert your eyes. Doing weird things. And we'll just animate dead to bring them all back.
Lovely, that's a good idea.
Look over at Mesika going, questions for later.
So 5 zombies. Are you going to make them husk zombies or normal zombies?
Well, I personally have no issues with husk zombies. It's just everyone else kind of has the...
You can make husk all you want, but if one of them explodes on me, I've got 2 spiders.
The 2 spiders are waiting for us at the end of the thing. So...
Yeah, and we'll both walk out that way.
Yeah. Just saying, I can't help it if you guys all still have that odd persuasion of being killed by poisonous gas. That seems like a you problem.
Sinhorn just puts his face out from above Bob or Alison, who's...
Okay, fine. Normal zombies.
Normal zombies, okay.
You guys suck.
The thing that Bubba wouldn't have heard was that earth elementals are immune to poison.
Yeah. So everyone else steps through the doors as they creak. Bobbert stays behind, grumbling, okay, normal zombies. And then as everyone else leaves the room, behind you, the 5 dead Sabatons climb to their feet and groan. As they begin to shamble along behind you, entering the hall beyond this set of doors. Several huge stone columns run along the center of this hallway. A ring made of dark metal encircles the bottom of each column at the base, in sharp contrast to the pristine white marble forming the columns themselves. As you pass the first pillar, you notice that there are carvings in the metal rings. The metal rings appear to be stamped with numbers, numbering 1 through 8, and directly above each of the metal rings, carved into the pedestal, is a picture of a sun with one of its rays pointing directly down like an arrow. Is there anything you wish to do?
What was it? A sun with an arrow pointing down?
Yeah, a sun, and one of its rays is pointing directly down like an arrow, and then Beneath that, at the bottom of each pedestal, is an iron ring with the numbers 1 to 8 carved into it.
Oh! 3145. 3154.
That's right. There was a whole code thing, wasn't there?
So, Bulb,
Yes.
you head to the first pedestal, grab the iron ring, and sure enough, it starts to slide around, and you can change which number is directly under the sun. So what number do you set for the first pedestal?
3.
3. Mesika sees what you're doing. She grabs hold of the iron ring on the second pedestal and begins to slide it. Which number, she asks.
1.
1. She clicks the number 1 into place, and then she nods, and you move on further down the hallway.
Is it a sun over every pedestal?
Yes, there's one numbered ring and 1 sun on each pedestal.
Okay, well then, just moving along, the third one will be 5 and the fourth one will be 4.
Yep. So you move along, and as you reach each pedestal, you place the numbers. You place the correct numbers under the suns on each pedestal. And then as you reach the very end of the corridor, just past the 4th pedestal, you see 2 of the stone tiles slightly raised, a pressure plate. Mesika shrugs. She steps forwards, and the pressure plate sinks beneath her feet. Nothing happens. She smiles, turns around, and gestures towards the pedestals behind her. At this point, you notice there is a small gap on each pedestal just under the iron ring. And stepping closer to the pedestal and peering into the tiny gap, you notice that inside each pedestal is a ring of blades.
Oh.
Mesika,
Yeah, that could have been bad.
Mesika shrugs and says, perhaps if we did not have the correct numbers, that pressure plate would have caused the blades to start cutting.
Oh, what I wouldn't have given to watch the Sabatons go through that.
That would have been fun.
That would have been fucking hilarious.
I would have paid to see that shit.
Furthermore, she says, she points towards the stone doors at the end of the corridor, gestures with her hand, and you see 4 stone latches that have been slid away mechanically, unlocked with the 4 correct numbers. She says, if we had chosen the wrong numbers, this door would be locked and we'd have no choice but to go back through the corridor with those blades spinning.
Okay, Mrs. Smarty Pants.
I was just happy no one died from being in the room.
You know what? That's a good point. This is probably the first trap that we have not set off.
Bob, it's
At all.
really just happy. There's like, the small amount of tears in her eyes, just like, Bob, it's just really happy no one died.
Well, I bet you're glad that you actually helped the Dryad and did all her trials.
Yeah, that was lucky as shit.
I gotta remember
The
that
Triad
I
is
have
fun.
a Triad apple.
Yes.
Yeah, please write that down, because that's, yes.
And so, following Mesika's lead, you step forward, Mesika pushes into the stone doors, and they slowly slide open, revealing the room beyond. Decorative columns and tapestries line the walls of this grand chamber. A large platform can be seen opposite the entrance, atop of which sits a stone cylinder filled to the brim with glowing, crystal-clear water. A huge iron carving of the sun with the symbol of Uptow in its centre hangs from the ceiling over the platform. In front of it is coiled a huge snake with a human face. And as you enter the room, the human face smiles sinisterly, revealing sharp, blood-stained teeth. It begins to uncoil, and then its eyes glow a bright green as it opens its mouth and begins to speak. What brings you to her Joker's domain?
It's a Joker?
A Joker.
A Joker.
A Joker. Is that the name of the wizard guy?
No, that was Carlati.
Yes, right.
And I presume Zinhorn is still in the wall.
Yes.
I just gotta say, you'd think reading the monster manual and studying it ages ago, when I first got it and started DMing, would give you an advantage on remembering stuff. It doesn't, because all the stats blend together and you just know what can be scary. And that's the only thing that you remember about any monster, is what can be scary.
You think of what you're going to... You think of how you're going to respond to this gigantic serpent when suddenly, as its gaze sweeps across the room examining the party, it stops, lingers upon Alisander, and its eyes narrow, and it says, "A Yuan T! You enter my domain, foolish Yuan T! Here, I use this dark energy to construct my army to destroy your kind. Now die!"
To be fair, only been UNT recently.
It appears...
Suppose we can't talk about this?
Roll for initiative, please. As soon as this spirit Naga saw its ancestral enemy, the Yuan T, it uncoiled and readied itself for combat.
So this whole section of the campaign is just entitled "Consequences for Alatender's Actions," because just every goddamn thing, one after another, just keeps fucking with me.
13 for Bulb.
13 for Bulb.
23 for Zinhorn.
23 for Zinhorn. And how did...
I don't know what we're going to work against a spirit Naga. Fuck.
Very well. Zinhorn, you are up first.
Okay.
So Zinhorn sees that the Naga is uncoiling and preparing to attack.
Yep, its gaze fixated directly upon Alisander. Then you hear it open its mouth and call out, "Die, Yuan T!"
So Zinhorn is going to then attempt to merge to make Rocky 3.0.
Yep, so you're going to merge and make a greater earth elemental. Please make an Arcana check. An Arcana check to merge, and then we'll see a Con check to hold it together in the next round.
So Arcana is that. That is a 13 plus 4 is a 17.
Yep, you turn to your right, you see Rocky the Earth Elemental embedded in the wall. You smile, the two elementals lock eyes, and then you merge your stone into his, becoming a large Earth Elemental.
Then going to come over the top of the Spirit Naga still in the wall, and then just drop down doing a full-on
Yep.
lunge down.
You make your way along the hall embedded in the wall and then walk along the roof until you're right above the Spirit Naga, and then you drop down in front of it. You may get one free attack as you land upon it.
Damn.
Yay. So huge Earth Elementals multi-attack plus 11 to hit. That is a 19 plus 11, so a 30.
30, that is a hit.
And it is 3d8. 8 and 5 is 13. And 4 is 17. Plus 7 is 24 for the first.
Yep.
And then That is a 7 plus 11, so an 18 to hit.
That is a hit.
And that is a 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 1 is 14, plus 7 is 21.
21. Very well. Okay. It is the enemy's turn. The Spirit Naga hisses as it crawls away from the giant earth elemental before it. Its gaze still fixated right on its UNT enemy, and it casts at 5th level Lightning Bolt.
We're going to counterspell that.
You're going to
just
counterspell that? Yep. It doesn't have any counterspell, it just hisses. Curse you, UNT! And then it slithers straight towards you, drawing an attack of opportunity from Zinhorn.
Alright. And that is an 11 plus 11, so 22.
22, that is a hit.
And that's on the ground. So that's an 8 plus 3 is 11, plus 1 is 12, plus 7 is 19.
19, lovely. As it reaches Alessandra, it hisses once again and makes a bite attack. That is a 23, non-nat.
Yeah. Somehow that magically hits.
That is 9 points of piercing damage, and you must make a con save, please, because...
Is that considered magical?
It is not... Actually, for a Spirit Naga, yes it is. So that is 9 points of piercing damage, and you must make a con save, please, because its poison affects even UNT.
Oh my god, oh no.
It's an anti-snake snake.
No, I was going to say, my god, it has the friggin', what's friggin' Salazzle's ability in Pokemon?
It does, yeah.
17.
17, okay. You take 31 points of poison damage as its venom begins to course through your body.
Oh, well, I'm so glad we took that short rest. That's all that health gone.
It is Alessandra's turn.
Annoyed now because I'm sure this thing. For God's sake, I didn't want to waste all my shit going to this, but am I still in this thing's mouth, or just?
No, it just bit you. It just bit you. It injects the venom and then withdraws, hissing.
Cool. I was considering trying to bullshit this thing and cast Animal Friendship because it's like the first snake we've come up against, but the fact that it can speak and it's trying very hard to kill me implies that its intelligence is definitely higher than 4.
Yeah, well, Nagas aren't beasts anyway, they're monstrosities.
No, that's fair.
It kind of confused me when I read it, but oh well.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's an odd one. Okay, well, in that case, as long as somebody else could heal me, I could probably take another round of getting my ass kicked like that, because I just hurt like hell. But I'm going to go and just bonk it on the hand and cast Inflict Wounds.
Yep, go ahead. Make a melee spell attack against it.
That is plus 9. 16 plus 9, I'm assuming, is going to be a hit.
Yep, that is a hit. Roll your damage.
But yeah, just... It bites me, I just look at it and go, oh, okay, that hurt. My turn. That is 45 points of necrotic damage.
It hisses, falling to the ground and then struggling, pulling itself back up. It appears to be very close to death. It is Keeper's turn. He shuffles forwards, roars,
Good, buddy.
and smashes out with his fist, slamming his fist right into the Spirit Naga's face. You hear a sickening crack, and then it is sent flying to the floor, sprawling. It gives one last hiss, whispers a word. You will never find it, and dies.
Oh.
Spirit Naga's only CR7.
Oh. It seemed a lot more threatening when it nearly wiped out most of a good portion of my health.
Yeah, I think they're glass cannons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely lived up to the name. But,
I will point out that is also the second Naga in this campaign that you had a chance to negotiate with that was squandered as soon as it saw Bobbit.
Yeah, I have noticed that. That's becoming an annoying habit.
And this Naga was weaker than that one. That was a Guardian Naga the last time, so...
Yeah, either way, second verse, same as the first.
I feel like Wizards of the Coast don't like Nagas.
Yeah.
It's the second campaign where the Nagas have been evil.
I know.
Well, I guess that won't be a problem anymore.
Well, the Guardian Naga wasn't evil. She just wanted to destroy Rasta Sea.
No, that makes sense.
Mesika and Lucia just sheathed their swords and sighed, looking somewhat disappointed that they didn't even get a chance to fight this thing. But
you poor things.
but the room is now clear, and you are free to examine the font of water that the Naga was coiled in front of.
Yeah, you guys check the line on the
Bob
floor
will
from
just-
it, because how?
Bob will just say if you really want to fight it, you can just wait for it to reincarnate.
Yeah, it'll be back in a few days. Mesika just shrugs and says, "Well, let us conserve our energy. Let's not wait here for 6 or more days. Let's just be glad that fight was as quick as could be and move on."
I'm just happy that I didn't need to do anything.
Well, I would like it better if we didn't have to do anything. Why does everyone keep beating Bubba up for her choices? Oh, right. Her choices.
What would you like to do? And Zinhorn, now that combat is over, you lose composure of the large earth elemental. You return to being a normal earth elemental, and Rocky fades away as the summoning ends.
That was really cool, though. Sorry you didn't get a chance to do anything with it. That was...
What do you mean he didn't get the chance to do anything? He cleaved off 3/4 of its HP.
How about anything else? Would have been cooler.
You were expecting to see the wizard Kolati here, if this is indeed the hall where the Daijobi Senga is located, but instead there was simply that Naga who you kind of scoff as you think how easily he went down, was clearly not an evil wizard capable of destroying an entire clan of priests.
I'm not scoffing, that hurt.
As you approach the font of water at the back of the room, the sounding stone in Bobbit's hand begins to vibrate, just like it did when it was revealing the entrance to the temple, emitting a sharp hum until you step within 10 feet of the pool. After which, the rune on the sounding stone once again glows bright orange. The surface of the water in the pool begins to glimmer, and what was before a clear pool of water allowing you to see the bottom of a stone basin now appears to be the reflection of some sort of forest glade, complete with a bright blue sky.
That's just another plane of existence there? I think we found the portal, guys. Also, we please rest before we go anywhere else. Or at least somebody heal with it.
Who'd like to cast some...
If we're going into another plane of existence, I think a rest might be a good option.
Yep.
Although, do we think we have time for a longer rest, or...
It's up to you.
Well, I guess whatever's happening here isn't going to, go away anytime soon, as this has been undisturbed for a while.
And you have the sounding stone, which appears to be what activates the portal.
Nap time?
Mesika shrugs and she says, there appears to be no immediate danger, provided nothing comes out of that pool or portal. She gestures towards the font of water.
Can I try and see if I can use the stone to turn off the portal as well?
Yeah. You're gripping the stone in your hand. You simply step away from the font of water. And once you are more than 10 feet away, the rune on the stone stops glowing. The stone continues emitting a low hum. But from here, it appears it is a font of clear water once more.
Okay, Poet's going to sit on this side of the room.
You walk up to one of the pillars of the grand chamber. Carved upon it is an image of a Tyrannosaurus Rex with the sun glimmering high above it. It's the furthermost pillar from the font of water. And so, Bobbit, you just sit down, press your back against this pedestal, and decide that this is your spot for the night.
Yeah. They say spot for the night, but that's sleepings. But still, rest is good.
So you guys find to take a long rest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very well. You start to unpack your sleeping rolls, scattering them around the room. The font of water gives off... as you are closer to it, you realise that the still water in the stone basin appears to give off a very faint aura of calm. And so the majority of you set up your sleeping rolls in front of the font of water, leaving Bobbit on her own at the entrance to the hall, propped against the pillar with the T-Rex. Mesika opens her pack, gets a campfire going, and you all cook yourselves some food to serve as the dinner for the night. The food, magically generated, doesn't taste the best, but it sustains you. And after you all feel like you've eaten your fill, Mesika yawns. She douses the campfire, crawls into her sleeping bag, and is almost instantly asleep. Bid each other good night, and then let the exhaustion of the day's events suddenly overwhelm you. All except for Bobbit, who sits awake at the pedestal, her gaze fixated upon the pool of sparkling water which, as darkness descends, begins to glow and fill the room with a dim blue light.
When Zinhorn is done his 4-hour meditation, he goes and sits with Bobbit.
Yep. Zinhorn finishes his meditation and then sits down next to Bobbit. And then you just sit and marvel at the dim blue light that emanates from the pool of water.
Yeah, Robert's just going to quietly question him on that whole, how he fuses with his elementals, trying to learn stuff from that.
And what does Zinhorn say?
Well, during our time of downtime, while setting everything else up, I spent a lot of time with the elementals and studying them to then question what would happen if two elementals were to merge. And not knowing the answer, attempted it, and, well, you know the rest.
There's questions like that a lot. People seem less than happy when she does it.
As if to accentuate this, behind you, the 5 zombies just groan.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I suppose Bobbitt's questions can also have results which have affected the party.
At this, Keeper raises his head, looks at Zinhorn, nods, and says, "Ooh."
I suppose if my experiments had the same results, they would be probably questioned just as much as Bobbitt's experiments.
That's okay. Bubba gets that we're not as good at being good guys as everyone else, but, we try. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it comes back to bite us. Been doing it a lot lately, actually, but...
I think our Keeper here is a great example of...
Oh, isn't he? He's been really great, but
he's done very well as the piles of bones that came back. They were very beneficial for our cause.
I would like to upgrade him later on, but it costs a lot of gold to fix him up. And, the fact that we had to actively start a war just to get pieces for him. It'd probably be easier if we didn't worry about stuff like that, but neither of us wanted to go raiding cemeteries, because that's a lot of work.
So what sort of upgrades did you have in mind?
More armor, more health, just basically make him better at what he does. He's never going to be perfect, but,
As soon as Bobbit says more armor, Zinhorn sort of goes, well, I do have +2 studded leather armor here that...
Bobbit, at that point, Alessandro sort of takes over and goes, we did try putting him in armor when we first finished with him, but, it didn't work out.
How about weaponry? Is he any good with weapons?
I just sort of looks at the very, ham-fisted thing going, it's not his strong suit.
Not his strong suit? Then.
Maybe it's from his time of being an actual dragon. He prefers to use his, what's the term? What Uptail gave him?
As if to answer your question, he just groans and cracks his fingers together.
See?
Well, then I've got nothing on me that can help with that.
That's
But,
okay.
in other news, +2 studded leather and +2 rapier, they make money.
They do.
Oh, that's right. Bobbit forgot to tell you guys. You know that you probably don't. You never saw it. There's a shop down the street from where our tavern is that's being sold. Bobbit's going to go and run that once all this weird stuff is over.
So you mean never at this rate?
Hey. Yeah, the weird stuff could end eventually. Maybe. Probably not. You know what? Nah, it's probably to the best. Still. Take stuff, sell and shop.
Well, with you running a shop and Bulb and I with being out to the druids and things, we've got quite the future ahead of us if we ever get the chance.
Yeah. Usually this would be the second time we've saved an entire civilization from some world-ending event.
Well, I know that my lifetime's quite long, but still, that's more than what most people can achieve in half a lifetime.
I don't even know how long she's going to live for.
Over on the other side of the room, you hear Sir Lucian snuffle and snore. Yes, heroes' works is never done.
I don't suppose you know the silence spell for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Morning 8 hours pass, and the blue light emanating from the font of water slowly fades away as what morning sunlight can pierce the thick temple walls begins to filter into the room, dimly lighting it. Mesika and Sir Lucian are the first to awaken, presumably because of their military training, and Bulb is not long to follow. Silently, you pack up your sleeping rolls, stowing them back into your packs. And then Mesika walks towards the font of water, and she says, "Well now, we're rested. Let us waste no more time. Lady Alessander, the sounding stone, if you please."
You're going to do a whole new... It's going to be fun being able to see a new dimension that's not going to be trying to kill us. It's going to be fun.
Oh, don't say that, because you know what always happens.
No. If it says it out loud now, then it won't. Everything will be fine. That's how this works. Right? That's how this works, right?
You're the one telling the story.
Xenon just looks over at his vine, and the vine just looks back and goes, "Well, it's going to be an adventure no matter what happens."
Indeed. And so, Alessander, you step forwards, and once again holding the sounding stone in front of you, you see the water flicker, and where you could see the bottom of the stone basin, you once again see a lush forest glade, blue light from the sky above permeating amongst the trees and branches. It almost seems to call to you, welcoming. Who'd you like to be the first?
Yeah, Bobbit dives bombs in.
Yep. So Bobbit steps forwards, and you stick your head in the water?
Yeah, we'll test it to see, make sure that it doesn't kill anyone immediately.
Bobbit steps forwards and, not even touching the water with her hands to check, just leans over the rim of the basin, sticks her head in the water. You all hear a big sucking sound as something grabs Bobbit, pulls her into the basin. Then you see her disappear beneath the surface of the water, and on the other side you see her body rising up towards the canopy of the trees. Mesika shrugs, places her hand in the pool, and then after another squelch, she is pulled below the surface of the water, and you all watch as within seconds she is standing on the lush green grass of the glade beyond.
Is it that she's the one that didn't die?
So, what do
That was in character, by the way.
Yep. Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, to you. She's on the other side, so weird to mention them yet. Yay!
Are the rest of you ready?
Yep.
You exchange glances. Bobbit and Mesika appear to have made it through unharmed. So you step forward and in unison place your hands into the pool. This time you do not hear the squelch. A great force lifts you from somewhere underneath your navel, and you feel as if you're being pulled through a tiny gap. Your entire body compresses, almost as if it collapses. The sensation lasts only a split second, until there's a flash of bright light, and you find yourselves on the other side of the portal.
Oh God, not again.
You emerge, finding yourself stepping out of a small pond and emerging in a vast, lush forest clearing. The trees are thick. The leaves and overgrowth blanketing the area around you with diamond-shaped shadows that glisten in what appears to be early morning sunlight. The entire glade is bathed in a soft blue tint. the tint of the early dawn. Around you, tall blue-green grass comes up to your knees and sways in a light wind. And as Bulb, Zinhorn, Keeper, Sir Lucian, and the 5 zombies step forward to join Mesika and Bobbit, you notice that at the very edge of the clearing, lining the tree line, are rows upon rows of mushrooms, red, blue, and purple, of all different sizes. As you step towards them, a number of the mushrooms, the small red and blue ones, jump in the air. And then you'd notice tiny faces on their stems smile at you, the eyes widen, and then they scatter, leaping off beyond the tree line. Around you, the air is thick, humming with energy, almost like static electricity. You could feel raw magic pulsating, humming, as it lingers in the air. Whatever this place is, it is filled with raw, powerful magic.
Robert likes this place.
It is clear that you are no longer on the material plane.
Would the fact that I have the feet Fey touched give me any indication as to whether this is a Fey or not?
Indeed. It takes you a moment to acclimatise, Bulb. But then, the overwhelming static energy in the air, the magic, the strange feeling that everything here is more vibrant and energetic than it is on the material plane settles. And even though you've never been here before, you start to feel calmer, almost as if you are at home. You are confident that this is the Feywild.
Okay, now the second question is, would I know anything about the Feywild?
You may make either an Arcana, or you may make an Arcana check, as this is a different plane.
16.
16. So, the Feywild, which you've determined that you are in, is a mirror of the material plane, the rough geography and topology of the plane matches the material plane, but everything is different. Everything is a bit more wild, a bit more magical. Colours are more vibrant. Sensations are more intense. This is a realm almost entirely comprised of magic, and it is here that the Fae make their home. You know that there are some scholars who suggest that perhaps the Feywild is the first draft, as it were, of the material plane, the first effort to create a world where life would flourish, but perhaps one where the magic dial was turned up a bit too high. As you begin to tell the others, suddenly you hear a voice echoing through the glade. It is the voice of the ghost, the head of the Obanashi priests. She says, "I feel that you have stepped through the portal. The heart of the wild is in the very center of the forest. Find it and restore it. Destroy Colate." The voice fades away, and with it, you feel the ghost's presence, which only now you notice had been with you this whole time, departs, leaving you alone in the Feywild.
So, has Bob mentioned to the rest of us where we are yet?
Do you?
Well, now that there's
Yes.
an opportunity to.
Fair.
Yeah. Do I know with a 16 that words hold special power?
Indeed, you do.
I also warn them to be very careful, and I'm looking at Bobbit/Alistander. One wrong word could mean something could steal your identity.
Here in the Feywild, words are incredibly important. Indeed, the native Fey place a lot of stock in words and their power. You impart this to the rest of the party. You see Sir Lucian just shrug and say, I would be striking any bargains with anything from here. Look at it! It's outrageous! He points to the sky, barely visible above the forest canopy. Despite the fact that it is only dawn, the sky already glows in a vibrant mixture of blue and purple, as if it were high noon on the material plane.
Sir Lucian, may I have your attention?
He looks at you.
Damn it. Okay, you seem to be a bit more on the ball than I thought you were. Okay.
Meanwhile, Bobbit looks absolutely... Actually, no, I'm going to roll a perception thing to see if she even heard what you were saying, because an entire round filled out, God damn it, it's a 19. Guys, for once, let me...
Yeah. So Bobbit, you've been vaguely passively taking in Bulb's warning as you just walk around the glade, marvelling at how the colours are brighter than they should be, how the wind feels cooler and more soothing than it would in the material plane, how the smells and sounds of the forest nearly overwhelm your senses.
Oh yeah, because I'd have the hand senses as well, so this is like, holy crap, everything at once.
Mesika nods. Lady Alessander, you in particular, you were taught about the Feywild by artists as part of your education. You know to be on your utmost guard here. Stay close to me. To the rest of you, she looks over her shoulder and says, the ghost's voice said that Daijobi Senga is somewhere in the center of this forest. So, we have, at the very least, a place we know to try and find. What would the rest of you like to do?
Yes, I'm being babysat, so I'll just sit there, even though I really, really want to just go off and look at things, because it's a whole different place. It's a whole new world to look at. Look at it all.
So, Bulb, Zinhorn, is there anything you can think of that you'd like to do, or would you like to just head off beyond the tree line and into the forest proper to try and find the center where the Daijobi Senga supposedly lies?
There's nothing of note, nothing moving around.
You can make a perception check if you like.
That's an 18 plus 9, so 27.
Cautiously, you look around the glade. You see the ponds that you stepped out of. The water is still, shallow. You can see the bottom of the pond mere inches under the surface of the water. The glade itself, however, appears to be bustling with life. The leaves and branches of the trees sway in the wind almost as if they're dancing. And every time you turn to face a new direction, you see mushrooms. Small shrubs, and other small examples of plant life shuffling and scattering as they try to avoid your gaze, occasionally giggling.
What? Do I get to say hi to a couple of things? Well,
Your gaze lingers on the tree line, and there you see it. You look to your right to make sure Sir Lucian isn't looking where you are, as just beyond the tree line, you see a curved yellow shape, a banana with feathered wings flying between the trunks of the trees.
mhm.
I'd like you to make a nature check, please, Zinhorn.
That is about 4.
The plant life is thick here. The grass comes up nearly to your knees. The trees are thick and tall. But this clearing is open. The plant life is vibrant and abundant, but not all that dense. And based on this, you conclude that you are currently somewhere near the outer edges of this forest. And this allows you to determine a rough bearing of which way you should journey if you are to find the center.
Okay, I'm back.
So, anything
Bananas are
else?
alive.
Anything?
Sorry?
The bananas are alive.
Oh, of course, you found the living bananas.
Yes, I did.
I guess we start making our way to the middle.
Yes, unless anyone has anything else they'd like to do before you step beyond the tree line and into the forest itself.
I'm pretty sure I'm under supervision, so I can't exactly wander off to look at stuff, so... No.
I mean, you can if you want.
Did I just miss that bananas are alive, or did I miss anything else?
You missed Zinhorn peering around the glade and seeing that as he looks around, mushrooms and small shrubs giggle and try to run out of the way to avoid his gaze. And then he peered beyond the tree line and saw what he thought was a banana with wings fluttering between the trees.
Okay,
Don't tell Lucian.
that's interesting.
I don't want to tell him so bad.
Mesika takes a step forward into the tree line and she shrugs and she says, "Well, if you think it's safe to proceed, let us be on." You step beyond the tree line, leaving the clearing behind and stepping into the forest itself. The forest canopy immediately blots out the sun above, but still rays of pale blue light continue to pierce the canopy, painting everything below in the forest itself with a blanket of pale blue, lending a dreamlike ethereal quality to it all. I would like you all to make either a survival check to try to conduct traditional woodcraft, or you may make an arcana check to try to follow the magic in the air.
So that was survival or arcana?
Yes, and I'd like everyone to make one, please.
I'm
I'm
for
gonna-
survival.
Yeah, I'm going to go arcana.
Bobbit? BRB. All right.
I got a 15.
Yep. So Lucian's going to go for survival. That's a nat 1 for Sir Lucian.
Banana peels.
All right. It's relying on M2's roll now, so we have to wait.
Oh no.
I mean, his arcana is plus 11.
Yeah, but we'll just see, because he could get a nat 1. So
Did I miss?
So you're trying to find your way to the center of the forest. If you'd like to conduct traditional woodcraft, you can make a survival check. Otherwise, if you'd like to follow the magic in the air as your guide, you may make an arcana check. This is a group check.
I'm gonna go with arcana.
Can I
Mesika.
use my Firbolg magic to cast Detect Magic?
Yeah,
To give me any...
that could give you advantage on your an arcana check if you make.
I have that once a day, so I may as well.
Yep. So
I'm gonna. Oh, sorry.
So, Bulb casts his Furbolg ability to detect magic, and instantly the air around you lights up like a shimmering gold and silver mist. And this will grant advantage to any Arcana checks. So, Bob, you get advantage.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is 24.
So
It's a low roll, but it's not bad.
So Mesika and Sir Lucian failed their checks, but Bulb, Zinhorn, and Bobbert passed. And so you quickly determine your bearing, determining you're somewhere on the outer fringes of the forest, and that if you head what you think is due north, you'll eventually arrive in the center. And so with Zinhorn scouting ahead using traditional woodcraft to find a trail, and with Bulb and Bobbert using the magic as a guide, following the clouds of silver and gold mist as they swirl around, ducking around tree trunks and between gaps in the foliage. You make your way through the forest. The forest itself is a sight to behold. As you make your way through it, it's almost as if you're making your way through a dream. The forest itself seems to shift and take different shapes at will. 1 minute, the trees are normal sized. The next, you round a corner in the trail and find that suddenly the tree trunks are the height of mountains, and the jungle canopy lurks high above, like a great cathedral window looking down on an open area. Eventually, you begin to hear the sound of running water. And you step out of a copse of trees and find yourselves on the edge of a small creek. The water a vibrant golden colour as it runs rapidly down the creek bed. At the end of the creek bed, you see a cliff face. In the cliff face, the mouth of a cave, a waterfall, except you all marvel as you notice that the creek appears to be flowing backwards up the cliff face and into the mouth of the cave, rather than coming out of the mouth and feeding into the river. You follow the creek, winding along the creek bed and following the running water, until eventually at the edge of a clearing, you see an ivy-covered stone bridge crossing the creek. You step towards it, ready to make the river crossing, and then a voice calls out, "Halt!" What do you do?
With my passive perception, do I know where that came from?
You do, and it's most confusing. It appears to be coming from all around you.
He said, "Halt."
Do you want to cross the bridge anyway, or do what the voice says?
I will just say it in a normal tone. Why?
What does everyone else do? You notice that Sir Lucian and Mesika have stopped and drawn their swords. Zinhorn, what do you do?
Zinhorn's just going to look in the direction of where the voice came.
Well, it seems to be coming from all around you. It doesn't seem to come from a specific direction.
Can I do a perception to see if I can narrow down direction?
Bulb already tried, and all he was able to determine is that it seems to be coming from all around you.
Alright.
That said, you guys can ignore this if you want. You can just continue on past the bridge, crossing the bridge.
I've slowed my stride and said why.
Yep. The air in front of the bridge begins to shimmer and waver, like you would see in a wave of heat. And then, glistening, sparkling, a figure materializes standing in front of the stone bridge. A tall, slender figure. It appears to be a male elf with long red hair and pale, almost golden skin, with a very slight tint of colour. His eyes glow bright yellow, and he appears to be dressed in shining golden armour, complete with intricate designs, thick shoulder plates, pauldrons, and spikes. But as he moves, taking a step towards you, his armour ripples and even billows in the wind, as if it were made of fabric and not metal. He looks at you each in turn, and then smiles and says, Outlanders, a fallen Eladrin among you. His gaze lingers upon Zinhorn, pale shadow of the real thing as it is. He says, this forest, and all within it, including this bridge, is the property of Queen Titania. He smiles.
Okay, well, by this point, now that he's gone up, I stop walking.
The elf smiles again. He gestures towards the bridge and says, and as this is the property of Queen Titania, a toll is required for all who cross.
Is that so?
Very quiet.
Mesika's lip curls. She still holds her hand on the hilt of one of her Kopesh blades, and she says, what toll? Meanwhile, Sir Lucian steps forwards and says, Queen Titania! I've never heard of her. I'm not going to be paying any toll to a crown that I do not recognize.
Bobbit just elbows him in the ribs.
The elf simply smiles and says, why, how could you not have heard of Queen Titania of the Summer Court, Queen of all Seelie Fae?
To be fair, you called us outsiders, so that kind of answers that question already.
He looks at you, seemingly puzzled, and he says, but even on the material plane, Queen Titania and her Summer Court are on everyone's lips. Are they not?
When was the last time you were on the material plane?
He says, The last time I was on the material plane was when the Eladrin decided to begin new lives there, to flee the onslaught of the unseelie Fae of the Winter Court. He gestures towards Zinhorn. Tell me, child of the Eladrin, have you come merely to pay tribute to Queen Titania, or are you returning to your ancestral home to live as your Fae ancestors did?
Does Zinhorn heard of any of these stories they mentioned?
You can make a history check. You may make it with advantage as you're an elf.
Oh, good.
I was just having a good time learning stuff.
So it's a 13, and second roll is a 9, so 13.
You know not what the word Eladrin means, or the children of Eladrin, but you remember from your childhood stories from your parents that in elven mythology it is said that the elves originally came to the material plane from the Feywild. This happened about 40,000 years ago.
Oh,
It is said that this is the reason why elves are no longer immortal, and that indeed when elves reach a certain age and are beckoned away, some say that they return to the Feywild, though there is no evidence to suggest that this is indeed the case.
Either way, this guy's about a good 20 to 30,000 years behind on social skills outside the Feywilds.
Indeed. Would you like to inform the others of this, Smithy?
Yeah. I'll say that it's been quite some time from the stories of this happening. A lot longer than most, even elves, would live in the material planes. So it is understandable that anyone outside of the elven culture would have no idea what you're talking about.
Apologies.
The Aladrin, if this is what he is, shrugs, his pale golden skin and red hair glimmering in the pale blue light, and he says, "Elves, you call yourselves? Interesting. And perhaps our reckonings of time are different, for the Aladrin left for the material plane but a century ago."
Oh, God.
Oh no.
How much time have we already lost?
No.
Oh.
No. I promise those fighters awakening.
Oh, God, they're going to be pissed.
They're not really dead.
Oh, God. I was sure I'm supposed to take over back in Waterdeep. That's...
We shall.
God, she's probably...
Yeah, as the implications of this phrase set in, you all look at each other, panic on your faces. The Aladrin simply smiles and says, "Do not worry. I'm sure you shall find your home just as you left it. Now, are you ready to pay the toll to pass Queen Titania's bridge?"
Well, I believe we asked what the toll was before, and you didn't give us the answer.
"Indeed," says the Aladrin. "The toll is simply the answer to a riddle. Nothing more." He says, "But if you give the wrong answer, then you must pay an alternate price for the toll. That price will be your life. You will pledge for all eternity to serve Queen Titania in the summer court. As I once did," he says, smiling softly.
Once?
He says, Indeed. Once I was but a humble courtier. Oh, how I still remember the parties and masquerade balls in the Sealy Fey court. But Queen Titania challenged me to a battle of wits, and I failed, and so now it is my duty to guard this bridge. For all eternity," he adds. "But I do not complain, for I have a sense of purpose, and it is the dream of all Fae to serve the Queen of the Summer Court."
So, if we do not use this bridge, do we pay the toll?
He says, "You do not pay the toll if you do not pass using the bridge. However, I dare say you will not find another way to cross the creek. Why, I hear when it reaches the edge of the forest, it loops back around, journeying up into the clouds above, and looping back around to the other edge of the forest, where it is fed back through the waterfall cave."
Okay, not gonna lie, Bob wants to make a raft. And just follow the river downstream.
He says,
It's just his eternity, and then the Feywild is just follow the river.
the Aladrin smiles. He notices the looks on your faces, and he says, "It is said that The Summer Court Creek is perhaps the longest in this domain. The last time someone journeyed from one end of the creek to the other, making a full loop, it took 2,312 years and 7 months.
Zinhorn rolled a 22 on insight.
You have no way of telling Zinhorn whether this is true, but as this seems to be a strange realm where the laws of physics don't seem to apply, but it's almost outlandish enough that you could just believe it.
It's so crazy it just might work.
The
So
Aladrin...
basically, he's saying that if we don't use this bridge, we'll be stuck in a loop.
Forever.
At least for over 2,000 years.
Okay, hands up. Does everyone here have 2,000 years to spare?
Well, apparently Zinhorn will.
I'm thinking close.
How wide is the creek?
The creek appears to be maybe in its you stand at the front of the bridge and look from left to right, peering down the way you came, looking along the creek bed. At its narrowest part, it's about 5 to 10 feet. On average, it's about 10 feet. And you can see some other parts where it's even wider.
So, even if we cross it right next to the bridge, we won't make it to the other side?
Well, you might be able to find a way to, if you can find a way to get across that distance. The Aladrin just smiles and he says, "Think not of dooming yourselves, friends. You may hear the riddle before you decide whether you wish to answer."
Oh,
That's handy.
that changes things.
Riddle away, my good man.
"Very well," says the Aladrin. "Listen carefully." He gestures towards the bridge and then to himself. "River crossing and its guard. Now, spell that without using any R's."
God.
PHAT.
Do you say that out loud?
Huh. Spell that.
That without using the letter R.
They're very literal here.
Yeah.
THAT.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful, says the Aladrin, clapping his hands together. I am impressed. For Outlanders, you not only figured it out, but you did it in record time. Feel free to pass the bridge. Your toll to Queen Titania is paid. And because you impressed me with the speed at which you deduced the answer, I will offer you each a boon.
Oh god, he's a vampire. Run.
I will grant you each a fraction of Feywild magic to take with you.
Sorry, continue.
You need only agree to your side of the bargain.
Ah, god damn it.
I'm listening.
He explains how he will imbue you with some of Queen Titania's magic, granting, if you do not have it, the Fey-touched feat.
What was that? Sorry, I missed.
He will grant you, if you do not already have it, the Fey-touched feat.
A lot better. Okay.
However, if you do already have that feat, he will offer a supernatural charm instead. The price, he explains, will be decided upon agreeing to accept his boon.
Oh, that's not fair.
He says, "Fear not. Chances are the price will be one you can afford."
Oh.
He says, he says, "Queen Titania and her servants will only take what they know you can afford."
Oh, that...
You know what? I personally am going to accept. Bulb accepts for himself.
Yep. Does anyone else accept?
You know what? Well, me into is freaking terrified of what this may potentially end up having. Bobbin, on the other hand, is just doing the whole, oh my god, free magic, free magic, free magic, free magic. So, against all better judgment outside of character, what the hey? What do we get?
Okay.
Did I hate myself with this? No, carry on.
Zinhorn, how about you?
Well, Zinhorn sort of takes into account the fact that he could still potentially learn more about himself if this is where his ancestors came from. So the could be a win either way. So yeah, Zinhorn is going to agree.
You look over at Mesika and Sir Lucian. Mesika shakes her head silently, and Sir Lucian appears to be pondering. And then he says, No, I know better. I shall not make any deals. And it doesn't matter if I can afford it. What if I don't want to spend any of it? Very well, says the Aladrin. He walks over and touches you each in turn. First, Bobbit. He lays his hand upon you. You feel the energy of the Feywild flow through his arm and into your body, granting you the Fey-touched feat. Would now like you to please roll a D100.
Oh no! Oh, this is going to be fun. 14.
14. He removes his hand. You breathe a sigh of relief. And then you settle your breathing down to its normal rate, and yet every breath you take sounds like this. The Eladrin smiles. Our transaction is completed. Your breathing shall for eternity remain loud and obnoxious.
Oh, jokes on you. Hey, you see Bobbit just sort of sit there, smile, and go, "Want to see a neat trick to get around that?" And just holds her breath.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope you roll a 14 then.
Yeah.
No. Bobbit can hold her breath indefinitely, so she just just holds her breath and then just stands there.
Yeah, but you have to breathe
So let's hope you roll a 14 so that's the thing they take.
Yeah, but you have to breathe. You have to breathe to talk. So every time you talk now, you're going to start by going.
Yeah, that's.
And your words are going to be punctuated with.
Oh God!
You're gonna... as if
this is probably going to be a pain in the ass to ask now in hindsight. This is while we're here, or this is...
Nope, this is forever. This is for eternity. This is a Fey bargain.
It's a curse.
Nope, it's a Fey bargain. It's something entirely different.
Well,
I'm still willing to do it.
And so, Alan,
I want to know what this charm is.
As Bobbit realizes what's just happened, you hear her say, "Oh, bye, Uptown."
This is the rest of our lives now.
He steps forwards, places his hand on Zinhorn. He says, "For you, child of the Aladrin, a fraction of what you once had." He grants you the Fey-touched feat. And Zinhorn, please roll a D100.
80.
Oh wait, that was Bobbit that did it first. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry, I thought it was... Sorry.
No.
He says, "You will enjoy this. You said you wished to become closer to your lost heritage, did you not?" He says, "Now you shall unwillingly slip Sylvan words into your everyday speech, and you may not be brought aware of it."
Well then.
You say "well then," but everyone else hears "well," and then a random word of Sylvan, and then the word "then."
Well, it's going to have to cast tongues more often to talk to you.
Yeah. And so, for mechanical effects...
Please give me deafness. Please give me deafness.
For mechanical effects for both Bobbit and Zinhorn, any charisma checks that rely on speech, you now do with disadvantage.
No! This isn't worth it anymore. Kill me now.
I don't care what I get. This was worth.
Yeah, unless you find some other way to communicate. The Aladrin steps forwards and says, "Finally, Sir Furbolg." He places his hand on your broad shoulder, and he grants to you a major charm of vitality.
Okay.
This is a charm. You may use it up to 3 times. When you use it, it instantly removes any exhaustion you are suffering and cures any disease or poison affecting you. And for the next 24 hours, you regain maximum hit points for any hit die you spend.
So if I use one of these charms for 24 hours after that use, I gain maximum.
Yep, on each hit dice you spend. Please roll a D100.
Okay. Where is there it is. 72.
72. And for you, Archdruid, says the Aladrin. One who also, if I am to believe the energy flowing through your body, also serves as a hero to the kobolds of Wormheart Mine. You shall lead a great kingdom for 10 years, but then it will fall into ruin due to your efforts.
Bummer.
He smiles and he says, "Our transactions are concluded. You may pass and cross the creek." With that, he smiles. The air around him wavers and he fades out of your vision once again.
I need to give me an ant farm.
I was just going to hold her breath forever now, because this is just great. My one thing that Bobbit has best out of everything has just been crippled permanently.
You cross...
So what?
Yep.
I'm going to need to get what the charm was after.
Yep, I'll get it for you. So you cross over the stone bridge and find yourselves on the other side of the creek, and as soon as you step onto the other side of the creek, the trees suddenly seem a lot closer than they were before. You take a single step, find yourself swallowed up by the tree line once again. Your ears ring with high-pitched giggles. As below you, multicolored mushrooms and tufts of shrubbery scatter to clear the path. And as you take a step further into the forest, you hear Sir Lucian gasp, "Ah!" You turn to the right, and there, Zinhorn, you see it once again. The banana with wings flittering past the tree to your right, off into the depths of the jungle. I'd like you guys to make another group check. You may make a survival check or an arcana check with advantage.
I was legitimately so excited to be here in the Feywilds. Now I don't know anymore.
I got 14.
14.
Survival.
Yep. I'll do...
Arcana for me.
Yep.
19.
Let's see. 2D. Let's do for... okay, so Lucian and Mesika both passed their survival checks. And so even as the trees seem to speed along the ground, overwhelming you, drawing in closer, you regain your bearing and continue pressing on to the north, further into the forest, desperate to find the center. As before, the trees wildly vary in size, growing and shrinking on a whim. After about an hour of walking, you step out into another clearing, and this one is strange. The ground before you is papered with dried orange leaves, and the trees that line the sides of the clearing bear bright orange and red autumn leaves. Yet interspersed among them you see other trees, pink with freshly grown blossoms, as if autumn and spring exist in this small pocket of the forest at the same time. As you make your way across the clearing, your boots and feet crunch and crinkle on the old leaves, and suddenly you hear a shuffle of movement to your right. You turn and look, just in time to see a tiny man about 1 foot tall with dark brown skin and a head that on its own is almost the size of his entire body. His face wrinkled and weathered like a raisin, looks at you, his arms clutching a pile of leaves. He looks at you, his eyes grow wide, and he shouts, "I swear I wasn't stealing any leaves!" And then he throws his arms, tossing the leaves to the wind, and then turns and sprints away into the forest before you have a chance to say anything. The leaves that he threw sail on the wind for a brief moment and then sink to the ground. And when they reach the ground, the grass absorbs them, seems to suck them in, and there, within seconds, you marvel and watch as new green saplings shoot up out of the ground where the leaves were dropped. You decide to press on. Your feet continue crunching across the leaves as you make your way to the tree line at the opposite end of the clearing. You step through the autumn trees, interspersed with blossoms, and continue on. I would like everybody to please make a perception check, and it is to listen.
Wow, just rolled 7 twice. Clearly I can't hear anything over the sound of my new breathing ability.
Yeah, clearly you're just going...
Goddamn crap, there better be a way to frickin' find a way to fix this crap.
22.
17.
Clearly Bobbit is breathing very loudly because Mesika and Lucian also failed their perception checks. How did Bulb go?
22.
So,
Can you hear me?
yeah, 22. So around you, you hear the constant giggling. You look around and you notice that some of the trees appear to be watching you with brown eyes that pop out of their trunks, watching your every movement. And then another noise gets added to this din of giggling, rustling trees and Bobbit's breathing that only Zinhorn and Bulb hear. Thump, 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 a metallic thumping interspersed with voices. "Hey, come on! I can smell blood around here! Can you smell blood around here?" "Indeed I can smell blood around here, M3! Oh, there's definitely blood around here, M4! M1, M2, let's get ready! I can smell the blood! Get ready to charge!" And then the thumping noise gets louder and faster. Thump, 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 thump. Suddenly, bursting out of the tree line ahead of you, charge 5 tiny little old men, each of them about a foot tall, with a, at first, kindly looking, wrinkled, aged face and long white beards, each of them wearing a bright red cap above their heads. "There they are! Get them!" shouts one of them. "Battle positions! M1, you go there! M2, you go there! M3 and 4, on my word!" shouts the one who appears to be the leader. And then they charge, and you notice that their boots Their boots appear to be made from extremely thick metal, far bigger than you assume that their feet would be. Their boots are so huge that they look like giant suction cups coming out of the bottom of each man. And then you notice that their caps are not painted red at all. Rather, they are drenched with blood. I would like everyone to roll initiative, please.
This is the greatest thing ever.
I'll go cry myself to sleep now. 16.
This is gonna be like hell for you, huh?
16, yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Bullet's having a great time here in the Feywild. That's a 4 with a nat 1.
Wow. Zindhorn, how did you go?
So 21.
21. Okay, I'm going to roll for Sir Lucian and the others, and I'm going to roll for these enemies. The Red Caps. Okay, that is Zindhorn up first.
Okay. So these things are rushing towards us.
Yep, they're huge iron boots thumping and clapping on the ground. And also Zindhorn and Bulb, you are not surprised, but Bobbit, Sir Lucian and Mesika are.
Makes sense. Well, that gives me a chance to do what I want to do before they get in the way, so that's good.
Yep.
So, step 1, I'm going to go with an old classic, and coming out of the water behind the red cap is going to be
A water elemental.
a maelstrom.
Ah, Maelstrom.
And a salmon to sort of suck all of them in it.
Yep. The red caps all scream, "Yeah!" as water bursts from the creek behind them. They're all going to make their strength checks. So the 4 standard red caps passed, and the red cap boss got a 7, so he failed. And he just screams, "Ah!" They all turn and shout, "M1!" as he's lifted away and pulled into the creek.
It is a 6, and a 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17, plus 4 is 21, plus 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25 points of damage.
25 points of damage. Lovely.
Zinhorn's going to start charging towards them.
Yep.
And then start just launch up. Mid-jump is going to be turned into water elemental. And
Yep.
go under the water.
Yep. So you're gonna rush. Into the maelstrom. You turn into a water elemental and then leap into the water, hiding from the red caps. It is now.
Oh, God damn it.
It is now Mesika's turn. She rushes forwards to red cap 2.
Wasn't she surprised?
Oh wait, yeah, she was surprised, wasn't she? Yes, she was. So it's her turn. And it passes without her being able to do anything as she fumbles for her weapons. It is the enemy's turn. The red cap gang boss is going to... Oh, actually, first they're going to work. So red cap 2 shouts, "Charge!" And he sprints with his iron boots towards Sir Lucian. He makes an iron-bound pursuit attack, so Lucian must succeed on a DC 14 strength save.
Before you go any further, I think they have to do, just double checking, at the start of each creature's turn, they need to do another strength check.
Yeah, I know, I did it and he passed.
Okay, cool. So I didn't hear that.
Yes. Oh no, I didn't announce it. So Lucian passes as the red cap runs straight into him, bouncing off his shield and hitting the floor. "Ouch!" shouts the red cap. Red cap 3 roars, "Don't worry, M4, I'm coming!" And he runs past Zinhorn, drawing an attack of opportunity. He also passed his strength save.
Okay. Water elemental is a +7. So that is a 16 plus 7.
16 plus 7, yep.
And then
That is a hit.
double 8, so that is 16 plus 4 is 20 points of damage.
Ouch! Shouts the Redcap as he stumbles, but then he continues running and uses his iron-bound pursuit attack on Bulb. Bulb, I need you to make a strength save, please.
No, that's not gonna. That ain't gonna fly, buddy. No, that definitely not gonna fly. 7.
7. He rams into you, and as he reaches you, he leaps in the air and kicks out with his iron boots. You take 27 points of bludgeoning damage and are knocked prone. Shouts the Redcap. 27 points, yes. Redcap 1 fails his strength save. And
6 is 12, and then 10 is 22, and 3 is 25, and 2 is 27.
Yes! He's pulled into the maelstrom. Meanwhile, Redcap 4 charges ahead past Water Elemental Zinhorn, drawing an attack of opportunity.
That is a 12 plus 7, so 19.
19, that is a hit.
And 2d8 is 10 plus 4 is 14 points of damage.
14, nice. He runs towards Mesika, and just as he reaches her, he leaps in the air and kicks. Take this, girlie! She's going to make her strength save, which she fails, unfortunately. He slams his boot right into her midriff. She takes 18 points of bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone.
Oh, damn.
It is the Redcap gang boss's turn. He passes his strength save, and then he uses his call to attack action. Go on! Get him! M1, M2, M3, M4! Get them! He calls out.
Best thing ever.
And up to 3 allied Redcaps within 30 feet of him can each use their reaction to make a multi-attack. So he chooses Redcaps 2, 4, and 3. So Redcap 3 goes first. It's going to attack 3 times with a little sickle that it holds in its right hand. The first is a 21. Is that hit, Bulb?
Yes.
21 hits, okay. That is 9 points of damage. The second is a 14.
Misses.
And the third is a 12, so it misses. The next one, Redcap 4, using his small size, squeezes into Mesika's space, and while she's prone, goes for Bobbit with his sickle. The first is a 9, which misses. The second is a 25, which hits, and deals 5 points of slashing damage, halved. The third is a nat 20. He hits Bobbit and deals 14 points of slashing damage, and that is halved. Meanwhile, Redcap 2 raises his sickle and goes to attack Sir Lucian. He rolls a 23, and a 19, and neither of those hit. So Lucian raises his shield and blocks all 3 of the attacks, and he says, I am the true M1. Ha ha!
Oh, go to hell. Boo!
It is now Bulb's turn.
Bulb doesn't know what the fuck to do. Because Zinhorn's in the water, so that nullifies me lightning everyone.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Wall of Thorns I can't do because now they're in Mesika's space. I don't know. I'm also fucking tired. You know what? Fuck it. While I'm just laying down, I'm gonna just thump my head on the ground. I'm going to bonus action activate my thorn shape.
Yep.
Which uses a wild shape. So get rid of that. That gives me 30 something health, which I'll work out in a second. But then as my action, I'm just going to thump the end of my staff on the ground and cast Wall of Thorns.
Yep, and where are you going to put it?
It's going to go 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60.
Lovely.
So it's going to go through...
Red Cap 1, the gang boss, and Red...
Yeah, so 3, 2, 1, and boss.
Yep, so they need to make... Let me just...
Dexterity saving throws.
Dexterity saves, let's see. Okay, so Red Caps 1, 3, and 4 get a 5, a 7, and a 3, and then the Red Cap boss gets a 7, so that everyone fails.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. So that is immediately 7d8 piercing.
Yep, so go ahead and roll that.
It's going to be in the chat because I don't have thing up. I don't have 7d8s currently. 39 damage. That was a pretty good roll.
39 damage. So Red Caps 3 and 4 scream, ah, as they're caught up in the thorns and go limp, killed.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, that's my bonus action.
Meanwhile, Red Cap 2 is knocked onto the other side, and Red Cap 1 and the gang boss are pulled away from the maelstrom. Everyone else is surprised, and so we go to the next round. Zinhorn, what would you like to do?
Zinhorn is going to go through the maelstrom and attempt to whelm both the boss and Red Cap 1.
Yep. So what saves do they need to make?
They need to make a strength save.
Oh, actually, you'll need to go around the Wall of Thorns. You'll need to go here. All right, so they're going to make strength saves. Let's see. The Red Cap makes a 16, and the Red Cap gang boss makes an 18.
They both save.
But they do take some damage, I believe. Or is that all right?
What I found. So if the saving throw is successful, the target is pushed out of the elemental space.
Yep, so they're just pushed over here. Pushed further away from the center of the maelstrom.
Well, they'd still have to...
Yep, on their turn, that is correct.
Yeah, they have to make their way through the maelstrom for at least two.
It is Mesika's turn. She does a pirouette passing by Bobbit and Keeper and engages Red Cap 2 in combat. She uses her bonus action to make a feinting attack. The Red Cap goes to attack her, but she dodges out of the way, and then taking advantage of the opening, she attacks with her Kopesh with advantage. The first is a 22. She hits and deals 9 points of damage, plus an additional 10 points of damage on her sneak attack. And then she goes in for her second attack and rolls a nat 1, unable to hit him, but she dealt 19 points of damage. It is the enemy's turn. The Red Cap gang boss, first, the Red Cap 1 is going to make his strength save. That is a 19.
Saves it.
Charge! He shouts as he begins running along the Wall of Thorns. His boots are pounding on the ground. Thump, 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 thump. He runs towards Mesika and kicks her in the midriff. She fails her strength save, takes 19 points of damage and falls prone, gasping for breath. Meanwhile, Red Cap 2 uses his small size to squeeze through Sir Lucian and Keeper. And then he makes 3 multi-attacks with advantage on Bulb.
Oh yeah, I probably should have stood up.
So that is a nat 20 on the first. So you take 18 points of slashing damage. There's a 14 on the second, which misses. And an 11 on the third, which misses.
Oh, 18. Oh, that wouldn't be done. Okay. I'm still up. I just took help off the wrong thing.
The red cap boss passes his strength save, and then he uses his bonus action to use his call to action, targeting red caps 1 and 2. Get them M1 and M2! He shouts. Red cap 2 makes a multi-attack against Bobbit.
How far did you say that was?
30 feet.
It was 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. No, he can't. They're well out of it. Okay, so that's fine. Instead, he's going to just move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's it, as far as he can move. Now he's in range. He barks the order, and Red Cap 2 makes a multi-attack against Bobbit. So the first is a 19.
It just meets it.
So that is a 6 points of slashing damage.
Please stop.
The next is an 11, which misses, and the third is a 23. You take 6 points of slashing damage.
Please stop?
Yes, so it's 12 points altogether.
Okay.
And then Red Cap 1 decides to make multi-attacks with advantage against Mesika. He rolls a 24 on the first and hits her for 10 points. He misses with the second, and with the third, he rolls a non-natural 20 and deals 9 points of damage. She groans in pain, looking quite wounded now. And then, after he uses his bonus action, the Red Cap gang boss laughs as he reaches into his coat and pulls out a slingshot and fires his Eldritch Sling at Sir Lucian. That is a nat 20. So Lucian takes 10 points of bludgeoning damage plus 31 points of force damage as the bead from the slingshot hits him and explodes, and he needs to make a DC 13 con save. D20. He failed his con save and is now stunned until the gang boss's next turn.
Oh good.
It is now Bulb's turn. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Yeah, no, I'm not speaking.
Ah, yep, alright.
I went, and then...
Oh, yeah, because it sounded like, because it cut off at the end of your and it sounded like you were, like, starting a sentence.
Fair enough. If I cast Wall of Thorns with my staff, does that mean I need to concentrate on it still?
Yes. Concentration still happens on those spells.
Okay, yep, fair enough. I just need to ask these questions because I don't think I've ever had an item that casts spells that are concentration, so... Yeah. You said these guys have metal shoes, right?
They do indeed have metal shoes.
Oh, no.
And so does the gang boss, he has it too.
Oh, no.
They've all got metal shoes.
Okay, I'm going to heat metal. I'm going to use my twin spell. So that's my 2 meta magic points gone. And I'm going to cast it at level 4.
Yep.
On Red Cap 1 and the boss.
Very well. They're going to make their saves.
So I need to roll damage, but I need to also look up how much.
Red
damage.
Cap 1 got an 8, so he failed. And the Red Cap boss got a 17.
Oh, that meets it, so it beats it. God damn it.
So heat metal. So for failing, it's 2d8 plus 1d8 for each spell slot above second.
That's 4d8. And of course, I don't have 4d8 out with me at the moment, so 4d8. 13 points of damage for the failures.
Yep.
Which brings it down to 6 for the success, is it? Or is it a...
Yeah, it's... No, they just take no damage whatsoever, but they have to do it again next turn while you're concentrating.
The guy who failed needs to take his shoes off.
Ouch, 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 shouts the Red Cap, and rather than taking his shoes off, he just starts dancing, hopping from one foot to the other. And that's when you realise those aren't boots. Those are his feet. Ow, ow, ow! So he's basically considered prone.
Fair enough.
I'm not laughing at the moment. It just sounds like my laughing, where it starts off as laughing and just goes into freaking wheezes.
It is...
That means that my wall of
Thorns is gone, yes. It is now... so Lucian's turn, and he is stunned. So it is now Bobbitt's turn.
And wouldn't you know it, as if fate wanted this to happen, I'm standing directly before the red cap known as M2.
Yep.
Oh, don't make me do this. There can only be one.
There can only be one.
Use my bonus action to activate my Grim Scythe and just go... I've been showing we could have been friends in another lifetime. Your name sounds really cool, though. And swing.
Alright, roll to hit him.
23.
That's a hit. Roll your damage.
That is going to be 14 points of necrotic damage.
14 points of necrotic damage. Nice. Ah! He shouts, jumping back from your scythe, and then it is Keeper's turn. Keeper rolls with his fists, doing his best to strike the tiny red cap in front of him. Let's see. Flesh Golem. I don't know why I didn't have him up. Okay, so the first slam attack is an 18, which hits. He deals 7 points of damage to the red cap and smashes in the little guy's head, turning his cap even more red. He then shuffles over to red cap 1 and rolls to hit with advantage. That is a 24 to hit. He deals 13 points of damage as he slams his fist into red cap 1. And then your 5 zombies move in, shuffling in. And they each roll an attack on red cap 1. And let me see. Zombies groan as they attack, and that is... Well, what do you know it? All 5 of them hit and 2 nat 20s.
Oh, Jesus!
So that is 4, 9, 13, 23, 31 points of damage. They all swarm the remaining red cap as he dances from one foot to the other in pain, swarm around him, and then you see them just pile on top of him, and his screaming gets louder and then stops as they bite. They just tear him to shreds.
Huh.
Okay, it is Zinhorn's turn again.
So Zinhorn is just going to make his way through the maelstrom.
Yep, towards the gang boss.
First he's going to roll a 6 on a d6, so that means he gets his whelm back.
Yep.
Is he still within the maelstrom, or is he on
He's on the edge of it now. So as you approach him, he uses his reaction to fire his wicked sling at you. Take that! He shouts. 22 to hit.
That hits.
That is 4 points of bludgeoning damage plus 23 force damage.
Okay.
And you must make a con save now.
That is a 15 plus, what's my con save, is 5, so 30-20.
Yep, you're fine. You're not stunned and you can take your turn.
So he's outside the maelstrom, so Zinhorn's going to attempt to whelm him again.
Yep. He's going to make a strength save. He nat 1'd.
So I'm going to whelm him in and then drag him back to the center of the maelstrom.
Yep.
And going to do...
That sounds like a horror movie.
2d8 which is a 7 and a 5, which is 12 plus 4 is 16 points of damage, and just drag him back to the middle.
Ah! He's screaming as you pull him back into the maelstrom. It is now Mesika's turn. She uses her movement to stop being prone, and then she moves 15 feet ahead onto the very edge of the maelstrom. She uses her bonus action to make a feinting attack, miming as if she's about to throw a dagger that she withdraws from her belt. And so now she gets advantage to hit the red cap gang boss, and then she throws her dagger with advantage. And with advantage, that is a 19 and a nat 20 for 28.
Nice.
She hurls her dagger at him, deals 9 points of damage as her dagger passes through the side of Zinhorn's water body and embeds itself in the gang boss's head. He opens his mouth to scream, but it hits him right between the eyes, and he perishes instantly.
Oh, poor Zinhorn. Once again, he had to just sit there and watch his kill list taken away from him.
From inside him.
I know, right? You'd think more than once would just be ridiculous, but here we are.
Combat is now over.
Hooray! We need to fix this. This is bad. This is very bad.
Bobbit, you look around intrigued by the catapult that the gang boss has, but before your eyes you see all of the dead bodies of the red caps have faded away. All that's left in their place is a copse of little white flowers.
This place is weird.
So Lucian
Say that again.
So Lucian recovers from his stun, still locked in the act of swinging his sword. He steps forwards and shouts, "Thah!" and cuts his sword through the air, and then beneath his feet you see him stumble on a banana peel. Unbalanced by cutting through the air, he slips on the banana peel and tumbles backwards, landing flat on his back with a plank of his armor. At this point, the banana peel opens a mouth on the surface of its skin and laughs. And then scuttles away using its peels like legs, disappearing into the undergrowth.
Oh, well, that's a mental image I didn't think I was going to get today.
And so, you press on, having survived the red caps. So would you like to take a short rest? Does anyone need one?
Yes.
Yeah, beat up a little bit.
Zinhorn's going to come out of water form and for the short rest.
I am going to implant my roots as well.
Yes. That's a good idea. Definitely.
Which gives me a d6 to my healing. That was 2 8s on my d8s. Lovely.
So Mesika spends all 7 of her hit dice to get back to full health. Yeah, she's only CR 7, so...
I use 4 of mine.
9. I used 3 of my hit dice, and I'm back up to full health.
I used 4 of mine to get back to full. If we have a few minutes, I would like to talk to Bulb, but
Yeah, you got...
use system. Bulb may need to just start learning to write things down chalkboard style. This reading thing is just,
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a freaking pain until we can get this fixed.
You spend 10 minutes catching your breath, treating your wounds, and in the middle of it, a group of 10 multicolored mushrooms go jumping through the glade, singing as they go, "Ring around the rosy, bucket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down, hee." As they disappear into the... And as they finish the song, you see all 10 of the mushrooms topple over as if hit with an invisible bowling ball. They giggle as they leap back onto their stems and then scatter beyond the tree line.
I want to catch one and just study it, see if it dies if I take it out of the Feywild. If it doesn't, I want to breed them into the grove.
Oh, great. Bring a sentient invasive species to a different plane of existence. Good thinking.
Hey, I have sword spiders, I can set them upon them.
So,
I have sword spiders. Your argument is now invalid.
so Bulb, you notice while all of the mushrooms have toppled over, you might have a chance to snatch one. So would you like to make a sleight of hand check to see if you could just pounce on one and snatch it up?
Before I do that, are they small enough that they would fit in one of my large jars?
Indeed. Each mushroom is maybe 3 or 4 centimeters in height.
Oh, they'd fit in my small jars.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Do I have a spell that I could use that could catch all of them? No. Oh, why the fuck? Can I cast plant growth on one of them?
Yeah, it'll just make it bigger. You cast plant growth. 9 of the mushrooms jump to their stems and scatter away, while the 10th one suddenly grows to the size of a huge toadstool, about half a foot in height. It looks around, opens its mouth, and giggles. Its voice now deep and booming. And then it moves to follow its fellows, leaps into the air, and immediately tumbles down to the ground, toppling over, clearly unused to its new size.
It was worth it just for that. So I'm happy with that.
You gonna capture it?
No, I'll let it go.
You watch and wait, and all of you just amuse yourselves watching as the big mushroom struggles for about 5 minutes to get back into a standing position. Then it turns and looks at you, opens its mouth, and says, "Hey, that wasn't fair!" And then it jumps off into the forest to try and catch up with its brethren.
Yep, that was worth it.
So, Bobbit, you wished to say something to Bulb?
Yeah, at this point, it's just a tug on the shoulder. See, Bobbit, I'm pretty sure I have something in my inventory that's going to let me just to write. I have ink quills and stuff.
Yeah, you've got heaps of parchment and quills.
Yeah. Just holds a note to him, just say, first of all, saying, it's going to be quiet for a while because the whole breathing thing. This is a small note underneath it saying, "So, how have you been? It's been a while."
Oh, well, there was a time there where I was dead. Again.
Yeah.
That was a fun time. But, since coming back, pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. Another note immediately afterwards going, "So, what happened when you were dead?"
Well, that is a story and a half, let me tell you. I woke up in Mezro. Was it Mezro, did we discuss?
Yeah, it was Mezro. It was a version of Mezro, like a shadow version.
I woke up in a very dilapidated, destroyed Mezro.
Infested with shadows and ever-present darkness that would seemingly never go away.
And as it turns out, everyone who died while the Death Plague was active ended up here. And while we assumed that when a soul died, it was immediately eaten by the Soul Mother, no, they were sent to this world, where they were then hunted by mini demons, like imp-like things. And when the imps caught them, that's when they were eaten by the Soul Mother. It was not a pleasant place to be, Bobbit or Alessander, sorry, I don't know how to tell the difference. It was not a pleasant place.
Yeah,
soon learnt that the kind of magic that I had didn't really work. Because when the magic left the physical presence of me, it disappeared. Which was strange in itself, in that I could actually cast magic, as no one else could. Which was a bit strange. But, yeah. And, well, you know me, I couldn't exactly sit down and do nothing while I watched imps devour people. So I started herding people together. And one thing I did find out was that when I conjured animals, they, for some reason, grew out of the plants and stayed the duration that I could keep concentration on them. And so I started studying the plants and learnt how to do this, and I quickly activate my thorn shape and deactivate it. And as that is magic that is constantly touching me, I developed a new fighting style. And, well, I spent I was dead for like 7 days, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe slightly longer, but yeah, about that. 10 day at the most.
I spent a week and a half rounding people up into the most defensible structures and using my conjured animals to defend the place. Then one day, I appeared again.
Oh. You see Bobbit, like,
and my magic
visually
stopped.
starts... Yeah, you see Bobbit, like, visually... It looks, like, extremely nervous at that one.
And my magic stopped. I can only guess as to how another version of me ended up on the material plane and then died. But I'm guessing that the piece of my soul, I would guess, still on the material plane was what was giving me my magic. Luckily,
guilt increases.
Luckily, it was only a matter of hours before the imps just disappeared. The world brightened up a little bit, and people started passing on safely to their respective
Afterlives.
zones.
Mesika, who's been listening into your story, simply says, "You have valiant friends, Lady Elisandra. They will certainly be a boon to us on our quest. Let us press on," she says, and begins to walk to the edge of the grove.
As we go to start walking, there's a small note that Bob just writes down and just hands to Bob before walking off.
What does it say?
We found the hags. Your soul is safe. Bob is sorry you had to go through that. It was her fault anyway.
I will quickly write something on the backside of the note and fold it into a plane and fly it back to her on a Druid-crafted gust of wind.
As you catch up with Mesika, Bobbit, you feel a bump on the back of your head, and you look down and see a folded up paper plane at your feet. You pick it up and unwrap it. It is the note that you left in Bulb's hand before you walked off. What does it say, Bulb?
Without that piece of my soul on the material plane, I would most definitely be dead. For good. All is forgiven.
All is forgiven. You continue onwards for about another hour until finally finally, after what feels like days of travel, even though it's been less than 6 hours, you reach the center of the forest. The center of the forest is a vast open clearing, approximately 100 feet in diameter, filled with lush, vibrant vegetation and surrounded by a glittering blue mist that generates its own light. The mists seem to form a magical barrier around the clearing, preventing anyone from entering or exiting other than coming through the forest to the south. An old withered tree in the very center of the clearing marks where the heart of the wild once flourished. As you step towards the tree, you feel what at first feels like a very peaceful, calming sensation. As if the tree is welcoming you, calling you to come and sit in its shadow. But within seconds, this feeling passes, and something more sinister takes over. The blue mist flickers, and a deep blue shadow blankets the entire clearing. You hear shuffling as the foliage around the tree is disturbed, and then suddenly 4 large cat-like creatures with flailing tentacles growing from their backs prowl out of the tree line, stand in front of the tree, and get ready to attack. Please roll for initiative.
Hooray!
18.
18.
Oh, wow. 22.
22. Zinhorn?
Sorry, Bob, at 25.
Yeah, look, at this point, I'm always expecting, no matter how high I roll, I'm going second at the
That's entirely fair. That's entirely fair. Okay. So here is the final battle of the session. I'll just grab the map. As the 4 feline creatures bare their teeth and begin to growl, as the tentacles on their backs begin to flail and whip around like arms, you hear a great roar, and then stepping out from the shadows underneath the thick tree trunk comes a 5th creature, at least double the size of the others. This is clearly the pack alpha. Zinhorn, you are up first.
With always going first is you've got to come up with plans on the spot.
You know what's really annoying?
Yeah.
I nearly took Fairy Fire in my last long rest.
Yeah, it would have actually helped a lot with these.
Yeah.
Because out of character, you know what it does.
No, yeah, in character I don't know. Out of character I do because I planned a whole storyline around these beasts.
Yeah, around Displacer Beasts, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, Zinhorn is going to run over here.
Yep. So you run into a nearby bush.
Before he does, he's going to cast Ice Storm and try and hit as many in the Ice Storm as he can.
So what's the radius of the ice storm?
20 feet.
So if you cast it here, you should hit all of them. Well, you should hit all of them. So you cast Ice Storm right in the middle of the pack, and they need to make dex saves, I believe, or is it con saves?
Dex saves.
Okay, so the 4 normal Displacer Beasts, 2 of them passed, 2 of them failed, so 1 and 2 failed, 3 and 4 passed, and the Pack Lord fails with a 5.
Alright, so
I am really sorry, guys, but right now is when I need to leave for that half-hour break.
Yeah.
Probably won't be by the end.
Alright, so what do you want Bulb to do?
I will send you my sheet so you can see what's
Alright,
he has.
fair enough.
Basically just area of effect spells.
Yep.
And like stalling spells.
That's fair enough. Okay, so, yep, roll your damage, please, Zinhorn.
They take 7 bludgeoning
Yep.
and 6, 11, 14, 16 cold.
16 cold, yep.
And now that is a difficult terrain till the end of my next turn.
Lovely. Okay, so 1 and 2. Let me just make note of their HP. That is... Alright. Okay, so that is...
And
Yep.
Mask of the Wild into the bush.
Yep, and then you blend into the bush. Okay, and it is now Bobbitt's turn.
Okay, so I like Zinhorn using the whole, ice storm and then disappearing, because I'm going to go for the opposite action. I'll move up in front of everyone else, and then I will cast Flame Wave on the entire group. So within a 40-foot cone, that should literally catch everyone that's in
Yep,
the group
as long as you're
standing.
right in front of them, yep. So right here, right in front of them. Alright, I believe they have to make a check. Let me see.
Yes, it's a dex save.
Dex save, okay. So there's 4 normal displacer beasts. That is 18, 4, 13, and 13. So,
Okay. Only one.
yeah, so only displacer beast 1 passes. The rest of them fail.
Okay, so that's 30 for everyone, and then 15 for the one that
Yep, for the one that passed.
So how many feet did I move in that turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I can't go back on this turn. That's okay. I may just reactivate my Grim Scythe, though, because I have a good feeling I'm about to get absolutely swarmed.
Yeah.
Send forth the zombies and the flesh golems to back me up, please.
Yes. Okay, it is the enemy's turn. Keeper crawls.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Keeper and the
Zombies, yeah.
zombies both go on my initiative.
Yeah, they do. So it is the end of your turn. It's Keeper's turn. He roars. 5, 10, 15, 20. Just getting close enough to you. Same with the zombies. See, 1 to 5. Okay, it is Mesika's turn. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. She rushes up to Displacer Beast 3. She uses her bonus action to make a fainting attack. And then she attacks it with advantage, swinging her Kolpesh at it. That is a 12. Oh, well, she has advantage. That is a nat 20. She hits it for 18 points of piercing damage, plus her sneak attack of 14.
She's a rogue.
A variant, yes, of 1. She's a duelist. She then swings with her second Kolpesh attack and does not hit. It is now the enemy's turn. Okay, let's see. So, the Displacer Beast Packmaster roars, giving all of the other Displacer Beasts pack tactics
Oh, no.
until the start of its next turn. Then it rushes forwards towards the opponent in front of it, Bobbit.
Yeah, pick up.
And at least one of... It calls over... It roars, calling over Displacer Beast 4, which activates the pack tactics, and then it attacks with advantage, going in for a bite with advantage. That is a 27 to hit.
Yeah, it hits by a country mile.
That is 19 points of piercing damage.
Oh, yeah, because it's magical. Shit.
Then makes 2 tentacle attacks. The first one is a 22. So that is 15 bludgeoning damage plus 5 piercing damage, so 20 altogether. And then the second tentacle attack is a 24. You take 16 points of bludgeoning damage plus 8 points of piercing damage, so 24 points altogether.
Okay, so from 2 attacks, I have legitimately lost half my health.
Displacer Beast 4 uses its pack tactics against you, attacking you with its tentacles. So that is a 23 on the first.
Yeah.
You take 8 points of bludgeoning damage plus 1 point of piercing damage, so 9 altogether. And then the second attack is a 24. You take 8 points of damage altogether.
Alright.
Displacer Beast 1 loops around, so it's in front of Mesika, and it goes in for its 2 tentacle attacks. And she dodges the first attack, but the second one hits her, dealing 16 points of damage. Then the other Displacer Beast, goes in, hitting Mesika with its tentacles. Hits with its first tentacle attack. She takes another 13 points of damage, and then its second tentacle attack hits her for 10 points of damage. She screams in pain. Displacer Beast 2 goes charging, 5, 10, 15, 20, drawing attacks of opportunity from your 5 zombies.
These hit it. I shouldn't have run in like this. This was a terrible decision on my part.
One of them hits, dealing 3 points of damage.
Alright.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Rushes up to Bulb and Sir Lucian, lashes at Bulb with its tentacles. That is a nat 20 to hit on the first. Bulb takes 21 points of damage. And then the second tentacle, nat 20s again.
Oh my god!
So Bulb takes 15 points of damage.
Oh, awesome.
Bringing his overall damage up to 36. With that, the enemy's turn is done, and it is Bulb's turn. And I'm going to get Bulb's sheet that Remy has sent me.
I'd like to point out, when I started this particular round of combat, I had 113 HP in total. I was at max. Does anyone want to take a guess at where I'm sitting now?
40.
Keep going.
So Bulb is at 60. Bulb is at 69 HP.
Oh, he has over double what I currently have.
Nice.
And Bulb is going to cast. He's going to cast Contagion on the Pack Lord. He's going to cast. Just got to get stuff up in my DM screen here. So
That's fair.
Contagion. So what is the range of that? Touch. Okay, so he's not going to do this. He's not going to cast Contagion. Sorry, I don't know his spells.
That's okay.
He's going to cast Blight on... Let me just check what that does. 30 feet. He's going to cast Blight on... Where is Bulb? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He's going to cast Blight on Displacer Beast 4. It's going to make a con save. It fails its con save. Bulb deals 41 points of damage to it. It falls to the ground, but then climbs to its feet. It is very low on health. Looks close to death. And then, as a bonus action, Bulb is going to cast Healing Word at... Let's see. He's going to cast Healing Word at 5th level on Bobbit.
Right.
So Bobbit gets 14 HP plus, what is his... So 14 plus 5 times 5, so 14 plus 25. Bobbit, you gain 39 hit points back from Bulb casting Healing Word.
Yeah, I might actually survive the next round now.
It is Sir Lucian's turn. He draws his sword and goes straight in on Displacer Beast number 2. with 3 of his attacks. So that is a 12, a nat 1, and a 13. So he goes in for his first strike, hits it, and then his second strike, he swings, slips, loses his footing, and is about to topple over, but he readies himself, and then you hear that giggle again as the banana peel scuttles away on its makeshift legs. And then his third attack, he goes in and strikes, so he deals 2d8 plus... He deals 26 points of damage to Displacer Beast number 2. And then he's going to add a precise attack to that, adding an extra 5 points of damage, which brings it to 31 points of damage, and Displacer Beast 2 had 30 HP left, so he cuts off both its tentacles and then leaps forwards and buries his blade into the top of its head, killing it. It is now Zinhorn's turn.
How much health is Bobbert on?
Well, actually, that last round will help from
Bulb.
Bulb literally doubled my health, so I'm back in the 70s now.
And Bulb's got 69 left.
Nice.
Okay. And in that case... Zinhorn is going to emerge out of the bushes here.
Yep.
And line of sight a sunbeam.
Right through Displacer Beast 4 and Displacer Beast Pack Lord. Very well, very well.
Yes. Con saves, please.
Con save, okay. So, where'd my DM screen go? Okay, so first for the Displacer Beast 4, that will be a 19, and for the Pack Lord, that will be a 20. So half damage for both.
Rats. Oh well. So it is 8 and 8 is 16, plus 5 is 21, plus 4 is 25, plus 4 is 29, plus 2 is
31.
31.
So 16 damage for both. So the Lord hisses, but Displacer Beast 4 shrieks in pain as the beam of sunlight hits it and it drops dead.
And then Zinhorn's going to dash around this way to try and get behind over here.
Yep, rush behind Displacer Beast Pack Lord, very well.
Around, like in the bush.
So in the bush, yep, very well. It is now Bobbitt's turn.
Okay, so clearly staying directly in front of this thing is a terrible plan.
You have a new ability which can get you away from there very fast.
That is true. I really...
Yeah,
really considered that.
you've got Misty Step.
Check out what Misty Step does, because I've actually looked at it before, because I didn't think I was going to be getting this feat just, as a freebie. Well, I say freebie, but it's going to cost me greatly.
You made a pact with the Fae.
Yeah, no, that wasn't the part I was worried about. It's more just all of my charisma checks based on talking, which is, what my character is good at is just crippled permanently until I figure out a way to fix that. Thanks, Emil. Well, anything else? Moving on. Yeah, teleport to 30 feet. So yeah, we'll just subconsciously just grab into the mystical magics of the Feywild and use that to go 30 feet away.
Yep.
Because boo this thing.
Where would you like to go?
This is annoying because I kind of really want to help Mesika out, but I also don't want to throw myself to it.
Well,
actually,
a bonus action, so...
It is, so I could still probably help out. Do any of the other Displacer Beasts look particularly hurt, or do they...
Yes. Number 1 looks quite hurt.
Well, in that case, I will Misty Step over to this space here.
Yep, right behind it, flanking Displacer Beast 1.
Yep, and then I will swing in with the scythe.
Yep, so you'll be rolling with disadvantage. Because the Displacer... it's... The Displacer Beast folds the Feywild's magic around itself to make it appear to be standing just like a couple centimeters to the left of where it actually is. So...
okay. So I
Can you give
will...
neutrality?
Okay,
So yeah, so
17,
yes,
so
it is.
15's plus 12 is still,
Yeah. Well, it's just a normal. It's just a normal roll. So in this case, the 17 would have been fine. So you hit it. Roll the damage.
That is going to be 12 points of necrotic damage.
12 points of necrotic damage. You leap forward with your scythe, slice off one of its tentacles, and it growls in obvious pain, but is still alive somehow.
Oh, cool. I will get the zombies to annoy the pack lord. I know it's not going to do anything, but just for a laugh, let's send them in after him.
Yep. So at the end of your turn, the zombies and keeper both shuffle towards the Displacer Beast pack lord.
I was going to get keeper to come and help me with the Displacer Beasts.
All right. Yep. So he'll come.
Let the zombies just annoy them, because let's face it, at the end of the day, those guys are expendable. Plus, they're Sabatons. Who gives a shit?
Yep. So keeper shuffles over to Displacer Beast 1. He roars "Rrr," and flings his fist at it with disadvantage. He misses the first one, goes in for the second, misses the second, and then growls. "Rrr." Meanwhile, the zombies go in, shuffling towards the pack lord, and they roll their attacks.
This is the part where I'd say, see, if they were the husk zombies, I'd have them explode right.
Yes. First
There's
misses,
no one there.
second misses, third misses, fourth misses, fifth misses. They all miss as the Displacer Beast projects its image away from the zombies, and their undead brains are incapable of judging the new distance.
That's okay. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're there to help. They're trying.
It is the enemy's turn.
And now they're gonna die.
It roars, giving pack tactics to the other Displacer Beasts, and then it rushes towards Zinhorn, drawing attacks of opportunity from all of the zombies. So they go in to attack again.
I was really hoping that they'd go for the zombies. Sorry, Zinhorn, we tried.
Oh, one of them hit. Deals 6 points of damage to it. And then Zinhorn, it doesn't have pack tactics. It's just going to attack you as per normal. It goes in for a bite first. That is a 24.
Hits.
That is 15 points of piercing damage. It then lashes out with its tentacles. The first is a nat 20. The second is a non-nat 28. So both hit you. So on the first, you take 18 plus 6. So you take 24 points of damage from the first tentacle hit, and from the second, you take 15. So it strikes you with its tentacles. Displacer Beast 1 turns and makes 2 tentacle attacks against Bobbit with advantage.
Yeah.
The first is an 18, it does not hit. The second is a non-natural 23. Bobbit, you take 8 points of damage.
See, that's much easier to deal with.
Displacer Beast 3 makes 2 tentacle attacks on Mesika with advantage. It misses her the first time as she dodges out of the way. The second time it nat 20s, hitting her for 24 points of damage. She gasps, as she goes down and makes her first death save.
Shit.
And she passes. It is now Mesika's turn. She makes her second death save. She nat 1s, fails 2 death saves.
Shit.
It is now Bulb's turn. Bulb is going to... let me see, what can Bulb actually do? Bulb is going to step forwards and cast... he's going to step forwards and cast Blight on Displacer Beast Pack Lord. It's going to make its con save. That is a 15. It fails. So it takes 36 points of necrotic damage, bringing it down to 58 HP. And then as a bonus action, he casts Healing Word on Mesika, restoring her to 9 HP. It is Sir Lucian's turn. He charges 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 to the Displacer Beast Pack Lord. Rolls to hit it 3 times. With disadvantage, so... what is its AC? So he hits it once, twice, hits it all 3 times. So it is 3d8 plus... plus... He deals 36 points of damage to it. And now it is Zinhorn's turn again.
Alright, so Zinhorn's going to sort of maneuver around the pack lords so that they're aligned directly sort of to take out those two.
Yep. So you run and stand. Oh, to get in range, I'll have to get an attack of opportunity.
So it's these two.
Oh, actually, yeah. So you go here. No, you can hit him. You can hit him from there without getting an attack of opportunity if you go on the very edge of its zone of control.
And then he's going to, whilst, because he's still concentrating on the sunbeam, I can create a new line of radiance as my action. And it's just going to come blinding straight through.
Displacer Beast 3 and 1. Okay, they're going to make...
And what the Lord, Pack Lord and Displacer Beast 3.
Yep, so the 2 normal Displacer Beasts failed their con saves. The Pack Lord passed. So go ahead and roll your damage, please.
That is 8 and 7 is 15, and 7 is 22, and 6 is 28, and 4 is 32, and 3 is 35.
35, okay, so the Lord takes 18 points of damage, bringing him down to 6 HP. Displacer Beast 1 immediately flips over and shrieks as the sunbeam hits it, and Displacer Beast 3 is still up.
And as a... Do I have anything as its bonus action? No, I don't really. Okay. Actually, I do have an... Oh, this is perfect. Something I haven't done in a while. I'm going to get my vine to swing.
Yep, swing it. Sword, go ahead.
Yeah.
Alright, roll to hit the Pack Lord. See if you can kill him.
That's a natural 20.
Yep, that's a hit. Roll double the damage.
That is...
I love this thing, so still alive after this.
That's a 4.
So 8, it is killed. So...
Let's be realistic, man. If you had to kill it, Lucian was right there.
Yeah.
That could have
He's not stealing another one of my kills.
Your vine lashes out with its axe. It shouts, "Yeah!" as it brings the axe down on the Displacer Beast Pack Lord's head, slashing it off. The head drops to the ground as the body falls limp, and your vine says, "Oh yeah, 2 will wars, 1 will cup!" Clearly proud of the hat he got. Clearly proud of the hit he got. Okay, it is now Bobbitt's turn. Only Displacer Beast 3 is left.
This is gonna be fun. Well, I have a scythe, I have some zombies, and I have a flesh golem. Let's make a goddamn mess.
Yep, so you rush up, roll to hit Displacer Beast 3 with disadvantage.
With disadvantage.
Yeah, because it's not flanked.
I'm really glad this thing comes with plus 12 to hit, because it's still a 21.
Yeah, that's a hit. Roll your damage.
Yeah, I like my side. That's going to be 12 points of necrotic damage.
Nice, bringing it down to 8 HP.
Keep a hard time.
Keeper just groans. Roar! He steps forwards and flails his fists at the displacer beast.
No, I want him to hug it. I want him to hug it. Hug the kitty. Hug the kitty.
His first attack misses as he hugs thin air, but then he goes in for the second, and that also misses as he wraps his arms around thin air again.
Fine.
Meanwhile, your zombies...
Useless beat sacks. Group hug.
Your zombies... your zombies rush forwards as fast as they can. And each of them makes an attack on the displacer beast.
Oh, just one. Just one of you bastards.
First one misses, second one misses, third one misses, fourth one misses, the fifth one hits and deals 3 points of damage, bringing it down to 5 HP.
Oh, god damn it.
It is now...
I legitimately had like 8 freaking hits. How did I only get 2?
It is now Mesika's turn. She looks at you, then looks at the displacer beast, uses her bonus action to get a fainting attack, meaning she can hit it with a normal roll, not advantage, and then she goes in with her Kolpesh. That is a 12. That is a miss. She bites her lip, swears into Baxi, and then goes in for the second attack, this one with disadvantage.
Language.
And she slashes her Kolpesh through the thin air.
Seriously.
It is Bulb's turn. Bulb steps forward 5, 10, 15. He raises his staff and goes to hit it with his staff.
So I'm gonna lock my ass up if he misses, and then it's freaking Lucian's turn.
Here comes the 2d20s.
Come on.
For Bulb. Bulb's just sighing and going, I could do this. He rolled, and he misses with a 4 and a 13.
Oh my god, Lucian's gonna steal this from everyone.
It is Sir Lucian's turn. He charges. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Goes in to swing his sword 3 times.
He's gonna freaking get this. He has to at this point.
He misses.
On next to no health.
He misses with his first. Nat ones with his second.
No appeal.
You hear the banana peel laughing as he just reaches down and crushes the flat of his blade into it, reducing it into mush, and then steadies himself going in for the second attack. And for the third attack, and then he hits it, dealing 14 points of damage, lopping off its head and smugly grinning at the rest of the party as the sounds of combat fall silent.
I'll have you know, I did everything I could. I really did.
God.
So very... The entire party misses just so Zinhorn can get one single hit. Sorry, Lucian can get one single hit in.
Yeah, just so Zinhorn...
That sword of his needs to start just being called the Kill Stealer.
The kill-stealing sword, yeah. Combat appears to be over. You breathe heavily, particularly Bobbit. As you catch your breath after that fight, and you approach the gnarled tree where the Daijobi Senga is said to be. But as you approach it, there is a niggling question in the back of your minds. It appears that these displacer beasts had taken up residence around the tree, basking in its magic, and had claimed it as their territory. But what of Kalati, the evil wizard? Where does he fit into all this? Your hearts... Yeah, you hope. Your hearts sink as you approach the tree, and there, at the base of the trunk, you see it. A large, perfectly circular indentation in the wood. Words are carved into Baxi above it. They read, Daijobi Senga. Remove only if you are pure of heart. whatever once sat in the indentation, whatever circular object contained within it, the essence of the Daijobi Senga, is long gone.
Ah, crud nuggets.
Bobbit swears into Baxi as Mesika steps forward, places her palm of her hand on the circular indentation, as if making for sure there's nothing there. You see her palm press into thin air, and she swears, "Takashi!" Then you feel the magic in the air beginning to surge. The pale blue mist begins to swirl around you, drawing closer and closer as it encircles the tree and the grove. Soon, a bright blue light fills your vision. All you can see is the magic mist of the Daijobi Senga's grove. Then, suddenly, you feel your feet drop down on something hard, as if you've been dropped out of the air. The blue mist fades away rapidly, and you look around. You are once again standing in the worship hall of the Temple of the Rising Sun. The font of water still, silent behind you. In front of the font are the remnants of last night's campfire lit by Mesika. The wood and the stone have long since crumbled away into mere powder. And we shall end the session there.
Crud.
I'd like to thank everyone for watching, especially Ivy. Good to hear from you again, Ivy. And I swear I wasn't trying to kill them this time. This was supposed to be an easy encounter, but lots of fun insanity. No, the way I screwed them over was by them making bargains with the Fae this time and getting stuck with extremely annoying permanent curses, such as Bobbit breathing loud and obnoxiously for the rest of her life.
There has to be a way around this. There has to be.
It's Fae magic. The only thing that can remove it, as far as you're aware, is Fae. So hugs to Ivy. We will be back tomorrow at the same time for some Vampire the Chicago Chronicles. But we hope everyone enjoyed this trip through the Feywild. And until next time, don't bargain with the Fae. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.